Alright, welcome back. We are now going to be playing Radiant Dawn. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, that is. It did win the bid war. Let's
What?
Alright, so we have to explain Wrath.
Yeah.
Wrath and Edward's level up straight away.
Oh, we are? Alright, cool.
Alright. So this is Radiant Dawn. The Fire Emblem released on the Wii in 2007.
Do you just want us to start by talking a little bit about the run?
Yeah.
Alright, so thank you very much for choosing Radiant Dawn over Path of Radiance, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they're both very good games, but I feel that for a speedrun perspective, Radiant Dawn is very interesting. It has a lot of variety to it. One thing to note is that before we begin, we have something called file transfers in Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Basically, if you get max capped stats on certain characters in Path of Radiance and then get them back in Radiant Dawn, they'll get some slight stat boosts. So we're going to take that to advantage for speedrun setting. And yeah, I mean, some key things to keep in mind if you're new to Fire Emblem. If a character dies, they're gone for good. And so there's a little bit of drama throughout the run, and by that I mean there's always that overarching risk of death. And there isn't going to be any prologue or anything like that. I mean, there's going to be a prologue, but there isn't going to be any tutorials or anything, so we're just kind of explain the game as we go.
Alright, time starts. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
We have this Myrmidon called Edward. We need him to gain several points of strength immediately.
Yeah, make sure we're going fast.
Definitely one of the first things to do in any Fire Emblem game.
Alright, so you might notice that Micaiah, that's our mage, just attacked. You won't be seeing too much of that. Magic users aren't used very often in this run, unfortunately.
What we're looking for is Edward needs to be hit at least one time. When he bites the boss, he'll be put into Wrath HP. Wrath's a very important skill early on. It increases your crit rate by 50, which is quite significant.
One quick thing to note, if you're playing this game kind of normally, what happens is you attack and there's like a battle animation that goes, but in the menu you turn those off, and this saves a substantial amount of time. In Path of Radiance, you actually don't have the option, even if you turn off battle animations, there's still kind of a little battle animation thing that plays out on the map. But in this, you can turn it off altogether, which is really, really nice. I'm glad they had that feature.
It definitely speeds up the pace.
Wrath.
So much for Wrath.
What we need is strength now.
On a quick roll call, I'm Butters BB.
Molotov.
Gwimpage.
Yeah.
Alright,
Alright.
so
Yep.
Leonardo is an archer. He can only attack indirectly. And this is an axe user. You'll be seeing a lot more of axes later, but not right now. Oof. Now, if you're playing this on a harder difficulty, the axe user would be used a lot more because he's very hardy defense-wise. But for the purpose of this speedrun, we're mostly just about killing things quickly. So,
Edward's the way to go.
Yeah, Edward's the option for now.
Alright, since Edward does not have 9 strength, we're going to need to use Leonardo. Normally, if Edward has 9 strength, he's fine killing stuff on his own, but we need help from Leo.
Yeah, so something to keep in mind is that level ups are not fixed in this game. There's a very RNG element to the level ups.
Edward has a really shaky hit rate, so I'm going to battle save.
Right. Battle save is kind of unique to this game. Typically in a Fire Emblem game, if you can suspend data, you know, if you need to go to work or something, and then go back to the map. But if you die, then the suspend data doesn't like save before the death. You know, you'd have to start the entire thing over again if you don't want a character to die. But in this game, they decided to be nice and allow you to actually save, you know, mid-match. Typically in a speedrun, you wouldn't do this at all, but it's a marathon, so we're just doing it for safety. Like, it's not something that's going to be abused, so don't worry about that.
We traded the hand axe from Micaiah to Nolan. Nolan's going to be putting that to good use.
Yes, hand axes are really useful because they attack directly and indirectly. So if someone attacks from a range, you can hit with a hand axe. If they attack you straight up, you can also counter with a hand axe. So very useful.
And they're also very strong and accurate, too.
Oh, yeah. In previous Fire Emblem games, the big weakness of axes is the hit rate was rather low. But in this game, they really buffed axes. So their hit rate is no longer an issue, and they have high attack power, so...
And this is the first appearance of Soth, who was one of your characters in Path of Radiance.
Yes,
So he's your first transfer bonus.
Yeah, so one thing I mentioned before, the way transfer bonuses work is if you capped a stat on a character and then you get them back, then they'll get bonuses to whatever stat they capped beforehand. Soth is unique in that he's the only one where his stats in the previous game actually directly transfer over.
That being said, Soth has flat capped stats, whatever possible in Path of Radiance.
Yeah, in Path of Radiance, he was the only character that could not promote. At the time, it didn't really make sense, but I guess they were really planning this ahead of time, so... Yeah. So, Soth is really, really useful for a speedrun because he comes in pre-promoted. Now, basically, in Fire Emblem, there's something called promotion system. So you start off like with a low-level base class, and then after you level up to at least 10, you can use an item to promote to a more powerful class. You get stat bonuses and whatnot, and extra skills as well. And this game actually has 3 tiers, so there's a promotion after your initial promotion as well. So Soth is what you'd call a tier 2, so he's promoted from a base unit. And the trap in Fire Emblems is if you have a pre-promoted unit amongst a bunch of non-promoted units, they kind of suck up experience that could be used for the non-promoted units that will end up becoming much more powerful later. And so you have to be careful of that, but in a speed run when we're just trying to go through the maps as quickly as possible, a pre-promoted unit is really useful.
Soth's going to be a very important character early on in the run. He's going to drop off because his strength cap is very low, but he's going to be very useful.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to note is, well, I guess slight spoilers, but basically the way Radiant Dawn works is there's a lot of different arcs, and so you're actually switching between different kind of teams, like totally different characters, depending on where you are in the story. So right now we're in part 1, which is the Dawn Brigade chapters, and basically the Dawn Brigade, the characters that you have available at this point in the game are significantly weaker than a lot of the options that you have later, and so you really have to kind of take advantage of the strengths that you do have.
Something I should point out, this formation looks very dangerous. You could see a soldier standing right beside Laura who could one-shot her, but technically she can counterattack with her staff, so the enemy prioritizes attacking the NPC.
It's very unique. Usually staff users can't counterattack at all, but this game they kind of can.
Yeah, and the NPCs in this map are just, if they survive, you get some extra bonus experience, but other than that, it's not really that important.
Right. Bonus experience we'll talk about a little later, but it's a pretty key factor in this game. Alright, first menu, awesome. So there's a force system in this game. You can increase your amount of damage, hit rate, crit rate, whatever on weapons, which is quite useful. Oh, support erased.
Yeah, he gets rid of that support because later on, if Micaiah and Soth are within a certain range of each other, there will be a little animation that plays before combat, and he just wants to save a few frames every time.
Yeah, a very common feature in Fire Emblem games is the support system. Basically, if you have two characters next to each other for an extended period of time, then they eventually get the option to have a conversation and then get like support levels. This is really fun from like a storyline point of view because you get to learn more about the characters and build relationships and stuff. And from a gameplay point of view, they could also get stat bonuses if they're near each other. But for the purpose of the run, they're avoided because, as he said, there's a little animation that plays. So, whatever.
All right. Edward failed to critical hit this tiger. This means I have to kill him and waste the turn. This isn't bad, but this means the Lagoos, this cat that I'm about to fight is going to be able to transform. And when Lagoos are transformed, their stats double.
Also, the first instance of using a thief to find random items hidden in the map,
Yeah.
because they have a 100% chance of finding items.
Thieves have a thief bonus in this
Nice.
map where it's not 100%,
Oh, it's not.
but it's a very high chance. Alright. Since I got hit, I need to collect this chest, but I can't do it without endangering Edward, so I need to keep myself safe. And we collect Beast Bow, which is an important skill for much later on.
Yeah,
Crap.
it's a skill
Nice.
that increases damage against Lagoos enemies, beast Lagoos anyway.
There you go. All right. Edward getting it in. About average gross for Edward so far.
So if you notice, we've been collecting all these stat boosters and we haven't been using them yet. We're saving them for a specific character later on, who's very important to the run.
Nice. Level up, Soph. Get that skill.
Do I have time for a quick donation?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Pretty related to what you just went through there. Yo Gwimpage, good luck on the run. I hope you get bodied by Ed Nerd. By the way, this is from Rosale. Make sure you remember our backup strats for part 4. This donation goes to saving Astrid if possible.
So yeah, slight spoilers, but part of this run, I mentioned before that if a character dies, they're gone for good in this game. Now there's going to be a lot of characters that we just straight do not use, just because there's only going to be a few characters that are really going to get heavy playtime. Well, more so than normally for Fire Emblem Run, because this game you have to use so many different characters. But towards the end, or like when we reach part 4, there's going to be this map where you have to, a whole bunch of units have to die in order to advance. And the proper speedrun strat is actually to kill off some of your own units in order to make things go by faster, which is a big no-no for a lot of Fire Emblem players, because part of the fun is trying to keep everyone alive. So I don't know, I mean, maybe we can set some sort of like soft goal that could maybe turn this into a deathless run.
Yep. So we just shoved this off a bunch of times. This is so you could reach the right side of the map a lot faster, because if you take too long on this map, reinforcements will appear. The goal of this map is to kill all enemies, and by more enemies spawning, the longer this map will take. So we need to rush off to the right side of the map.
Right. So you'll notice those green units, they're neutral units. These are actually characters that can be, can join your army, and they're returning characters from Path of Radiance, which means that they're characters that will have transferred stats. So again, the way it works is on whatever previous file, if they have capped stats, then whatever they cap, they'll get like a +2 to that stat. Of these 3 characters, one of them is particularly important.
That little green dragon right there is going to be a complete monster for this run.
Yeah.
Follows the typical Fire Emblem rule that
Of training a early game flyer.
Yeah.
And it also helps that Dragon Riders are particularly good in this game because they're no longer weak to bows.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that's nice about neutral units is because they don't gain experience, if they're actually like effective at killing things, it's a nice time saver.
We also had Bolug join this chapter. Bolug's a very high movement character, and he kills things very fast, but Bolug's going to drop off eventually because Bolug is locked to one range, and the best way to kill things is to have access to 1-2 range, and Bolug doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No Lagoose has that, but some are more useful than others, especially at the end.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem with Lagoos in its speedrun sense is that they have to waste a turn in order to actually transform, and pretty much every turn is important, so... Still, a few of them do get used. Especially, well, and a bunch of them get used later, but that's its own thing.
Alright, Jill just joined our group, and we're going to start off by immediately beefing her up with everything that we've gotten so far.
Yeah, so let me portray just how important Jill is, and someone else is going to be coming later. So Draco Knights, they're a mounted unit. Now, mounted units in this game, they can attack and then move again. They can rescue and then move again. They have high constitution, and so they can rescue a lot of different units. Let's see here. They have really high stats. They use axes, which are like the best thing in this game because hand axes you get early and can attack directly and indirectly and have high attack power.
They can also fly over terrain and not have penalties.
So they're better than a regular mounted unit because they can just fly over things. I mean, what's supposed to be weaknesses to flying units is that there are certain weapons that have a huge attack bonus against them. This is usually the problem with them in Fire Emblem games. In previous Fire Emblem games, the problem with Wyvern Riders is they're weak to bows and magic because they have really low resistance. And in this game, they also get Thunder Magic is also super effective against them, in addition to them just having low resistance. But here's the thing. In this game, they are not weak to bows. Why they made this decision, I have no clue, but it just makes them all the more godlike. Magic is rather weak in this game compared to previous Fire Emblem games. Tomes just have really low base damage on them. Enemies rarely, if ever, use Thunder Magic. It's like very rare. And as far as the low resistance goes, there's a system called bonus experience, which I think you just used, right?
Yeah.
A little.
So with bonus experience, the way it works in this game is if you level up using bonus experience, you always get 3 stats leveled up. Like if in a regular encounter you get a level up, you can get a whole bunch of stat boosts. You might get no stat boosts. It all depends. It's kind of random. Obviously, you have different growths depending on the character. But it's locked so that you always get 3 stats boosted. So if you get your stats capped, and it's just going to pick whatever 3 aren't capped yet. So once her stats get all capped out, then she's going to, the game's going to have no choice but to start leveling up your resistance. So that whole low resistance thing basically becomes a non-issue.
Yeah, so if you notice, Tyronio got hit by a hammer. A hammer is super effective against armored units. Tyronio isn't in any danger on this map, but he's also a very strong unit for this point of the game. Why the game gives you this character this early, I have no idea, but he's going to be leaving after this chapter for a while.
And also you'll notice that he promoted Jill early. He needs the extra movement point from promotion for the next map.
Yeah, she goes from 8 move to 9 move, and that's pretty crucial for reaching some of these enemies over here and in the next chapter. So what I haven't mentioned yet is we've actually been watching Jill's stats. She needs to reach like certain milestones in her stats to be able to kill this boss. And she needs 17 strength and 19 speed, both of which she reaches very quickly thanks to transfers.
Yeah, and here some of the units are forced, and he's just getting them out of the way because otherwise that ballista will fire on them.
Yep, the ballista has an animation, which actually wastes quite a bit of time, so we're just getting out of the way, and we're minimizing combat to this level.
And shouts to Fiona up there. It's a unit that you could recruit, and I mean, you could use her, but we're not going to. Got that light blue armor.
it's another one of those things where, depending on how many of these NPCs survive, you would get extra bonus experience.
Right.
But it really doesn't matter.
In a speedrun sense, you actually want them to die because if they survive with 1 or 2 HP, they will heal, and healing takes a lot longer than just straight up dying.
Yeah.
And we have Tyronio's weapon unequipped.
Oh no, bros.
This actually entices the enemy into attacking him since he can't counterattack, despite Volug actually being able to take damage from the enemies. So we're going to be abusing this a lot in the run. Enemies typically will attack people that are unarmed.
The AI is very cowardly.
There you go.
And this boss drops a really important skill called Paragon. We'll be putting this to use much later on.
It doubles your experience gains.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, so characters come in having certain skills that sometimes they activate during battle, sometimes they're passive. One thing that's cool about this game is that you can basically take skills off or add them in at will. Like some of them are locked to a character, but a lot of them you just kind of swap out between characters. So there'll be times where a character will be important simply because we can get a certain skill from them.
Speaking of which, one of them joins in this map.
Tormod, Mirim, and Baika are joining this map. Mirim's a very good character, but his problem is that he doesn't often start the map transformed. He has to gain his Laguz gauge, and it's just much slower to transform him, so we're going to avoid transforming him whenever. But we'll be abusing him when he does join transform.
Yeah, one of the great things about this map is that most of the enemies don't move. So you're kind of free to do what you want.
So Tormod and Morim are returning characters, so they have some stat boosts. Now, something to keep in mind about what makes a character useful for this run. A character can have like really good stats and be like legit good characters and not necessarily be good for a speedrun. Now, something to keep in mind is that one of the big factors in determining how good a character is their availability. Now, as I mentioned before, the way this game works is you're switching off between different storylines, and so you get a bunch of different characters. Sometimes you'll have characters that will like kind of switch between arcs and come out a lot, and sometimes you'll have characters that you'll see for a little bit and then not see for a long time, but their stats don't change. The worst offenders of this are Tormod, Mirim, and Vika here. You're going to see them a bit for part 1, and then you're not going to see them again for most of the game. And by the time they finally get back, it's late game and they have the same stats.
And by the way, that was a rescue train. It pretty much look what it looks like. You pick up one unit with a low movement unit with a high movement unit, and trade them off in such a way that you can cover a whole lot more distance in far less turns.
Mikai is still at level 1, so on top of having low movement, she's killed by anything. So we need to keep her safe, and some maps she actually needs to seize a tile, and we're going to be abusing everyone to keep her safe and get her to the objective much faster.
Also your first Laguz Royal.
Right.
And they're incredibly powerful.
Yeah, so Laguz Royals are different from regular Laguz for a couple reasons. First off, outside the fact that their base stats are absolutely ridiculous, and they have unique skills and everything, they have the ability to actually transform at will. So instead of having to waste a turn transforming and having to manage their transform gauge, because like when they attack, they use up this kind of meter, and once they run out of meter, then they change back into human form. They don't have that, so they can transform and attack on the same turn, and they don't have to do any meter management, so they're just ridiculously good.
Yeah. Several bandits in this map actually have venom axes. When they connect, they inflict poison, which is very bad because at the start of every turn, you have to watch a poison animation, and it really adds up if you get poisoned early on.
Alright, so Zahark has a Brave Sword. Brave Swords, or Brave weapons in general, are really good. Because typically the way it works is you attack 2 times. Well, you attack once if your speed stat is at least greater than the speed stat of your enemy by 4, then you double attack. With a Brave Sword, instead of a double attack, you do a quadruple attack because a regular attack attacks twice. So Brave Swords are, yeah, they're pretty ridiculous. And the amount of damage, like the base amount damage is actually pretty good too, so.
Yeah, and as you can see, he prioritizes killing the enemies that can't actually hurt him.
Yep, the priest can't attack you at all, so you have to prioritize defeating them before more reinforcements come and prolong the map.
Look.
So no poison, that's good.
Very good.
Alright, this next map is our first Fog of War chapter. Do you guys want to explain Fog of War?
Basically, it just obscures your vision to a certain range. Some units have a greater vision range, like thieves, for example.
You could also use an item called Torch, which also increases your vision range. One of the problems with Fog of War is that you can't really see where the enemies are, so if you kind of charge in blindly with, you move around and you bump into an enemy, then they get all startled and then their turn ends, which can be a problem.
And we have this character named the Black Knight that joins us.
So yeah, the Black Knight. He's like a story character or whatever. His whole thing is he's like the mightiest knight in all the land or whatever. And his stats reflect that because he is absolutely ridiculous.
And he was actually previously a villain in Path of Radiance.
Right. He's sort of a villain in this game. It's complicated, I'm not going to get into it. But basically, all you need to know is he's absolutely overpowered for this point in the game and for the game in general. Like, you can see he has 70 hit points, which is pretty absurd because most characters can't get over like 60. His overall base stats are ridiculously high. He has an ability called Eclipse that I think does, what, 5 times damage?
Yep, and it neutralizes their defense, so...
Yeah, that's the thing about most mastery skills in this game. It's like when you hit tier 3, you get a unique class skill that comes with it, and most of them boil down to destroy whatever it hits.
Yeah.
They have a secondary effect, but you'll never see it because nothing will ever survive it.
Yes. Another thing is, in this game, weapons have usage to them. So if a weapon runs out of usage, then it breaks. Black Knight has a sword that can hit directly and indirectly, which is really, really good for a sword and usually isn't a thing. And it has unlimited uses, so why not?
Alright, we're going to be doing a ton of different things for this map. This is the final chapter for part 1, and lots of different units are going to be leaving our party. So we need to set everything up.
Okay. So a quick thing, you gave Nayla, I think her name is, right? You gave Nayla an ability called Pass. Pass is really good because usually you can't like walk through an enemy, they're kind of blocking the way. But with Pass you can just go straight through them, which is really useful.
Yeah, and you'll notice that like Ilyana has a lot of the useful things. That's because she shows up later on. So it's sort of like you use her to transfer skills and items to different squads.
Right, so as I mentioned before, this game has different story arcs, so you have like different teams that you're switching off between. They don't, at this point in the game, they do not share convoy. Basically, when you're in base, there's this thing called convoy where if you don't want someone holding an item, you can store it. But the teams don't share storage right now. But if a character like shows up later in the story, they'll still be holding on to whatever they had before when you were using them. So in the case of this character, Ilyana, you give her a bunch of stuff so that when she shows up in whatever next story she shows up in, she's already holding it. So, pretty useful.
We've just used our first dancer unit of the run, named Raphael.
Dancer unit. So, usually in Fire Emblem games, there's a class called Dancer. The whole gimmick is they can't attack, but they can give someone else an extra turn. So, the Dancer units in Radiant Dawn are called Herons. They're these white-winged Lagoos. So there's actually 3 of them in this game. So this is the first one, Raphael. His deal is he has really bad movement compared to the other Herons, but he doesn't have to transform, and he can already give up to 4 units an extra turn. So basically, whoever's adjacent to him gets an extra turn, which is really good.
this is definitely another one of those useful maps to use a rescue train.
Yeah.
Because Micaiah would take forever to get up here on her own, and she'd be in a lot of danger. But you had the Black Knight and Nayla, who were pretty much invincible, and they could just clear the way for her.
Yep, we just transferred the Black Knight from the bottom floor to almost the top of the map, just in one go. So rescue chaining can get people around really fast.
Oh no, reinforcements.
And you'll notice here that he'll move Nayla off to the right. And that's actually to block one of the enemies that would get an extra attack on Micaiah, and then she would actually more than likely die.
Right.
Yep, Micaiah's one shot by...
Yo, Maureen punch! So, Lagoos need to be transformed to really be effective. If you direct attack them and they're not transformed, they can counterattack with like this weak, innocuous punch. So an enemy just attacked Maureen and he critted them with that weak, innocuous punch. So, yeah. Yeah.
Total overkill.
Alright, and that's part one.
Alright.
And Micaiah promotes, and she's still
Level
not
one.
much
Oh,
better.
let's look at those stat boosts. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
A little more and she'll be in double digits.
Alright, we're starting the second arc of the story, so this means we're getting control of a completely different group. And we have one special character joining on this map.
Yes. Alright, so now we're in the, this arc I guess would be Alencia and her knights. So we're going to start off with Alencia's group, and then we're going to switch over to Joffrey and his knights for, let's see, Crimea I believe is the country. Right. Okay, so on the top left there, a new character just joined. It's the guy in black there. So this black rider, he was in the previous game, he's back again. His name is Har. Now, the name of this game is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, but a little known fact is that when they were actually developing this game, there was a big debate in terms of what they should call it, and for most people, the actual name of this game is, well, it was originally called Radiant Har. Now, the reason why this game is Radiant Har is because Har is absolutely absurd in this game. So, we mentioned before just how good Dragon Riders or Wyvern Riders, whatever you want to call them, how good they are in this game. So Har comes in, he's already got absolutely ridiculous base stats. I talked about how character availability is a thing. Har is in this game more than the main characters are. Like, he's all over the place, regardless of the story arc. He's just...
Yeah, he starts good and he stays good.
He starts good, his growths are good. You know, whatever resistance weaknesses he has are taken care of with bonus experience. He just got a resistance level up because why not?
To top it off, Har also uses the best weapon in the game.
Oh, yeah,
her
axes.
axes, by far.
Yeah, Har just like... He's like the best character you can possibly have in this game.
Alright.
He like takes advantage of every oversight.
So this next chapter stars everyone's favorite Nephany. Stuff can go wrong this map because the boss is very tricky to kill sometimes if Nephany misses, which isn't uncommon. So we're
Yeah.
going to start this map off by clearing off all the starting enemies. We need to wait for Heather, which is a thief who joins with a pass skill. We're also going to be putting her to use later on.
Yo, Nephany.
It's unfortunate that Nephany is not going to be seeing much use this run.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately she's not mounted and she kind of comes in low level, so, yeah. But one thing that's cool about Radiant Dawn as a speedrun is the fact that you like, you know, get the opportunity to use characters like this that normally you wouldn't use.
Yeah, in the speedrun you're using everybody you could
Yeah.
possibly use that are good anyways.
Look at that stat growth.
Like I said, we have to wait for Heather, so we're just going to wait here for a little bit.
Alright. As an aside, one thing to keep in mind, this is kind of just a general rule of thumb with Fire Emblem games. Certain stats are much more essential for growth than others. You know, like in general in Fire Emblem games, like the most important stat you need is speed, because you want to be able to double hit things and you don't want to get double hit yourself. After that, it's usually like strength or magic, depending on what the character does. And then after that, we'll say defense if you're a character that, you know, you want to put out there and just eat a whole lot of damage.
Nice. Definitely destroyed
Yeah.
that boss.
The stat growth is so good.
Would I have time for a quick donation?
Yep.
All right, so we have a $100 donation from RPG Zero.
Oh, thank you, dude.
What an amazing night. We had crazy platforming in Kaizo Mario, and now we have insane menuing in Fire Emblem. Seriously, to be able to put the menu that fast is the dream of every hardcore RPG gamer. I hope that somehow managed to win the Fire Emblem bundle. Please put $50 towards Ocarina of Time blindfolded and $50 towards using Aerith in the final battle of FFF7.
Now, something to note there is that if he hadn't gotten a critical hit on that first attack, he would have had to he would have had to trade over a javelin and attack again.
So one thing you'll notice, that we've got a new Heron, that's Leanne. So all the Herons are different. With Leanne's thing, instead of giving 4 people an extra turn, she gives 2 people an extra turn, either horizontally or adjacent to her. And if she transforms, it still stays with the 2, but she gets a movement bonus.
On easy mode, the objective for this map is defeat boss. Normally it's arrive, but a defeat boss is much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes a few objectives throughout the game.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Oh man, those level ups where you get nothing but 1 hit points.
And that's the last time we'll see Lucia. She's gone for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And when she joins back, she's...
Alright, so we just did kind of a we're still in part 2, but now we're in the other team in part 2, which is Joffrey and his knights. Of the knights that we have available right now, Joffrey's definitely the one that's going to be used the most. He has good base stats, his level's pretty high as well.
Yeah, him and Kiran are definitely the stars
Right.
of this group.
Yeah, Kiran, you know, he's the second highest level, also second highest base stats, so. And he uses axes, which is really good.
Alright, so this is probably the first longer map of the run. So far, everything's been really fast-paced, but there's lots of enemies on this map, and the goal is to reach the other side with Joffrey. So we're just going to be moving Kieran and Joffrey as far as we can each turn.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only way through is through the massive horde.
Bam.
So now would be a good time for donations.
All right, then. We have a $25 donation from Gwindex. Hey guys, no spaces. 2 of my favorite Fire Emblem games, so I'm happy regardless which of them gets ran. Let Molotov choose where this $25 goes, because he's such an awesome guy and to watch and listen to. Ike is best husbando.
Guess I should say kill the animals.
All right.
You could also say violence, storm, blood, but you know.
Or that, yes.
Yes, in that same vein, we do have donation sims coming up, such as the one Butters just mentioned for Violent Storm to turn on the blood. We
Yeah.
definitely want to see some blood in that game.
So violent.
So violent. And $25 from Amazon. Love Fire Emblem. Keep up the good work. And $25 from Yintsai. I've been waiting for Fire Emblem to donate again. Love the series, and Awakening is one of my favorite games of all time. The marathon is going spectacular so far. It's great to see all the support and attention being given to this event. I lost my uncle to cancer, and I hope the money raised it makes it so people in the future won't have to lose their loved one to cancer.
So I think that donator mentioned Fire Emblem Awakening, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Awakening is an interesting speed run because, so right now we're having an enemy phase, so, you know, the enemies are coming in, we have to kind of wait for their attacks to be done. That's, you know, a pretty classic Fire Emblem thing, but what's interesting about Awakening is you can actually push the start button and it just totally skips the enemy phase, so you don't have to sit through all this. From like a speedrun point of view, that means that it cuts down time significantly. But from like kind of an entertainment standpoint, it's like, kind of takes away some
You're
of the drama.
staring at a black screen the entire run.
Also, that's a game where you would not choose to totally ignore supports because it's pretty essential.
So what we're looking for on Joffrey is we want at least 1 point of speed. This will be significant much later on in the run, but it's not essential that he gains this point in speed. It only saves a little bit of time.
Just terrifying boulder weapons.
These catapults are pretty worthless. They're an area of effect attack, but they usually only deal 1 damage at a time. I'm not sure why they exist.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of cool is like Joffrey isn't a special class or a lord or anything, but you know he is the leader of this particular chapter. Like usually in Fire Emblem games, you always have to have like some sort of lord or something on the map, but in this game there are actually a decent amount of chapters where that's not the case. So I kind of like the variety.
Yeah. So we placed Kieran to fight this halberdier here. This halberdier drops a speed wing, which is an item that increases a unit speed by 2. So we definitely want to be putting that to use.
Yeah, and speed is a pretty important stat.
And Joffrey failed to get
Yeah,
speed.
that 1 hit point. And one thing that's nice about this about Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn compared to other Fire Emblems is that with the bonus experience feature, it sort of takes out a lot of the RNG element because you know if you don't get the level ups that you need, you can sort of bonus experience your way through.
All right. So this is the chapter where we beef up Har with everything that we have again.
Yeah, in this version of the game, you can actually, when you hit level 21, you promote to the next tier.
Right.
So he doesn't need a promotion item for this. He can just straight up go to tier 3 way early in the game,
Yep.
which allows him to do some pretty crazy damage.
Yeah. Okay, so I misspoke there when I said you needed an item. My bad.
You could use an item.
You could use an item. My bad. Yeah. So yeah, you'll notice that usually he'd get 3 stat boosts, but because he capped everything, now he's only
He's
getting...
only getting 1.
Yeah. Luck, yeah. He even capped resistance, so... Alright. There we go.
All right,
Flash
here
change.
we go. Har's tier 3 on the second map that we got him.
Dragon Lord.
And we want to reach 32 strength for an important boss kill later on. Just something minor.
Yeah, and so now he also gained his mastery skill, which is stun, which triples damage.
Because why not? Well, it triples damage, and if they don't die, then they get stunned, but they're not going to not die, so...
There's no way.
Alright, so basically what's happening in the story right now is that there's this dude that wants to overthrow Valencia, so he's organized this whole huge rebel army to take her on and siege her castle, so you notice there's quite a few units here.
And like all good defend maps, they have a secondary condition, which is to defeat the boss, and it ends immediately.
Right,
This is one of those.
right.
We could wait out the entire 15 turns, or just kill the boss.
Yeah,
In those 15 turns, those guys might break down that door.
yeah. Well, I mean, we have a lot of turns to wait right now, and like, for him to be able to assemble this army, he has to have some good strategic value. I mean, he's not just going to leave himself totally unprotected, so...
He didn't just charge right at us.
Yeah.
So this map is interesting because we can actually complete this map in 1 turn, but it's actually much faster just to charge and unequip our weapon.
I mean, either way, like, look at all those enemies you have surrounding you. Oh, wait, never mind. And that is why flying units are really, really good. Yep.
And that's the end of part 2. Part 2's...
Yes, good job, good job. Alright, so part 2 out of the way, now we go to part 3, which is the Grail Mercenaries. That's Ike and his army. Now, This is kind of, if you're playing this game casually, this particular transition is kind of jarring because up till now, you've had teams that are limited in scope to a degree, like they always have kind of some weaknesses or some problems getting through certain maps. And then we get into the Grail Mercenaries, in which like everyone on your team is ridiculously overpowered from the word go.
You
Like-
go from like militia to seasoned veterans.
Yeah. So like all these characters are from the previous game. They've come in already with high base stats, plus whatever bonuses they might have. They all have good growths. Like,
But
it's
unfortunately, the first map that they show up is also one where you are heavily reliant on the NPCs to actually do something.
Yep. Yeah.
Because the objective is for the Skirmir, the lion in charge of the other NPCs.
Oh, wow.
He has to actually
Whoa.
reach the
Yo.
projectile.
That was scary.
Yo,
I might
hero,
have missed heal her.
Hero Myrmidon or Swordmaster, whatever he was.
Here we go, mist being used.
Oh man, Mist. Yes, Mist got some use. Cherish that moment. You're not seeing it again.
You normally never see mist being used ever in the speedrun, but
Yeah,
it's her lucky day.
the AI is really good here. It likes to choose bad places to stop
Yeah.
before attacking, and it
Yeah.
roadblocks itself.
So, like we mentioned before, Lagoos are locked to one range. They can only attack what's in front of them. And these enemies are guarding choke points, and it's very easy for them to get stuck on each other. And there's also a pair of two really weak cats that will just get stuck on something and cause everybody else to just traffic jam on them.
Push.
Yeah, that's why he wants to weaken a whole bunch of these guys so
Yeah.
that they can have a chance of actually creating a hole.
Yeah. So something that Gatry just did there was he pushed Rolf in order so that Rolf could move up to that particular ballista. So non-Lagoos units have this like just kind of have this natural skill called push. Or sorry, non-mounted units. Non-mounted units have this natural skill called push. Some people have smite, which is sort of an improved version of push, but basically the idea is you push someone forward a space. It doesn't do any damage or anything. It's just something you can either push your ally or an opponent forward one space. That doesn't seem that good at first, but it actually has a lot of uses. You know,
Yep.
namely, you know, for characters that need to move a certain amount of spaces, but they are like one off, and you can push them instead, and then they can move further. Or you can do like a push string where you just keep pushing and pushing. And it actually comes in handy against a boss much later in the game, but yeah.
So we're just watching the NPCs. We're just hoping that they're going to be at least like use their brain and not get stuck. So this upcoming barricade is probably the hardest for the Lagoos to get through. There's these two armor knights. Armor knights in Fire Emblem games typically have a lot of defense and HP. And these Lagoos have trouble killing them. Especially since behind them are fire mages, and fire magic is effective against beast Lagoos.
One thing as an aside, so there's two key Lagoos on the neutral side, there's Skirmir and Ranulf. If either of them dies, then it's chapter over. But that isn't going to happen, so yeah.
Yeah, that roadblock wouldn't be much of an issue if Skirmir led the army,
Yeah.
because he could take out any of these guys no problem. But
Yep.
he hangs in the back for whatever reason.
Which is kind of against his character, but whatever.
Alright, like before, we're weakening some enemies for the Lagoos to have a greater chance of breaking through. It's actually bad for me to get a crit there, because if I get a crit, they instantly die, and somewhere in the dark, there are actually more mages, and they will replace the dead mage, and they'll have full HP. So it's lucky that I didn't get any crits on the mages.
Yeah, and also you want to reach the boss area or as soon as you can, just because you
Hey,
want
Jack got a kill.
Ike to take on the boss.
Yep.
And there's this priest in the corner.
Okay,
that-
so sorry, what just happened there is so there's different types of Lagoos. You got these, you know, more intimidating beast-looking ones, then you got the cat-looking ones. The cats are really, really weak, and they are not going to do much to these armored knights outside of make a roadblock that we have to wait now.
But yeah, that priest in the corner attracts some unwanted fury from Skirmir and his gang. So
Yeah.
the idea is that you want to kind of block that guy off so they can't reach him.
As Skirmir reaches the top right corner of the map, he actually starts prioritizing attacking over ending the map, because Skirmir, plot-wise, is an idiot. And he just wants to fight people, so gameplay-wise, he just causes some problems by prioritizing attacking. So the
There's a
reason,
lesson to be learned there somewhere.
yeah, the reason why we want to end this map as soon as possible is because of the very lengthy other phases. For every turn, it takes about 40 seconds for these lagoons to finish moving. So if we were to lose any turns over like 6 turns, we would lose 40 seconds every time. And if the lagoons get stuck on each other, it's very possible just to lose a bunch of time to nothing but RNG.
And I'm going to try and shove a quick donation in here. It's
Yeah.
from Ayla Bright Eyes for $50. Alrighty then, Gwim. It's your least favorite mod here. Trying to distract you again. Slayer hype, Beast Killer hype, Die Hard hype. Don't forget to transform Skirmir, Giggle hype, or something like that anyways. Good luck.
Alright, so we're gonna employ a rescue drop here. I just used this move and we're gonna drop him closer, much closer to the boss, sorry. Ike is the only person that can actually one around the boss on his own. So he's pretty important for killing all the enemies.
Yeah, so one thing is, so Ike is like, well, he's technically not a lord, but we'll say he plays the role of a lord in this game. And as far as like a lord tier list, Ike would be pretty high up there. Usually, in a lot of Fire Emblem speedruns, lords don't get a whole lot of use. They tend to just kind of sit back and maybe get ferried over in order to seize a map. But Ike as a unit is absolutely absurd in terms of his strength. Like from the get-go, he has absolutely ridiculous stats, and from as the game goes on, his stats get more ridiculous, and he gets an absolutely ridiculous weapon. And either way, there's going to be a required fight that Ike has to do later on. So yeah, Ike's going to get levels.
So, just like that, when Skirmir moved, he actually forced a 7 turn. There's no way for Skirmir to reach the seize point from where he's at right now, so we'll have to just take a 7 turn.
Yeah, but at least with the enemies gone, it's not a huge deal.
Alright, now's a good time for donations
Alright.
as well. while
We
we-
do have a $25 donation from Max7. Love Fire Emblem, love you guys, love the cause. Take my money and let's fight for our friends.
Yes.
And $25 from Pat B. The Fire Emblem run is driving me crazy. So much XP not being earned. Loving it though.
Yeah, so funny thing about like Fire Emblem is that normally like getting as much experience as possible and like dispersing it and everything is like a big part of the game. The funny thing about a speedrun for Fire Emblem is that levels ups and like experience are kind of a bad thing, because when you kill someone and you get experience, then it takes time for that meter to go up. So one thing that's nice about bonus experience is that you can skip over that meter going up. And actually there's a lot of situations where we want to use like level capped people that can't get any more experience, because they'll take someone out and then you don't have to wait for the animation of the experience.
Yeah, and we're also promoting Titania here. Normally you can't promote her ever, but on easy mode, you actually get an increased amount of bonus experience after every map. So thanks to easy mode bonus experience, we're allowed to promote Titania instantly.
Yeah.
Awkward.
and you'll notice that he'll move Sheenan not all the way up against the wall. There's this guy on the other side of the wall that has a longbow. If he was against the wall, then he would attack from 3 spaces away. He couldn't reach him from there. But this way he'll trick him into coming against the wall and being in range.
Yeah, something about Shinon. He has an ability called Provoke, wherein enemies' AI like prioritizes attacking him. This is actually a really good ability because it allows you to sort of manipulate the AI. And Shinon as a unit is very hardy. You wouldn't think it at first because he's supposed to be an archer, but he can just tank armies for days.
Usually Bolocks in Fire Emblem games aren't the greatest character, but Shinon just throws a wrench at that, and he's a really good character.
Yeah. You don't really get the chance to use Shinon as much in this particular run, but in Path of Radiance, the Provoke ability allows him to do some really dumb things for like a map or two.
Yeah, it's too bad he's not around a lot in Path of Radiance.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we have Titania and Har. Har is going to be joining back next chapter, and there's lots of stuff we're doing next chapter.
Yeah, the Grail mercenaries weren't strong enough. They needed Har.
Yeah, yeah. Guess you put in some work.
Alright, so this next chapter, we're going to be outfitting Har, Titania, and Ike for the majority of Part 3. So we're going to start by giving Har Celerity and Savior, which are 2 very important skills. What do you want to explain what's...
Yeah, Celerity, it's +2 movement, and normally when you rescue a unit, your speed and skill are cut in half. But with Savior, it just eliminates those penalties entirely.
Yeah, that's the reason why you shouldn't just rescue the Lord straight out every time, because they do have to actually take that stat cut.
Yeah, and he also just got the silver card there, which halves the cost of items.
Right. It doesn't have forge costing, but it does have if you buy stuff. I wish you could repair things. That'd be great.
Yeah, and another great feature about Radiant Dawn is that you can buy in bulk.
Yeah.
Yep, we just bought 15 hand axes.
Oh, yeah, Ilyana, we mentioned that before, but so Ilyana's back in the party and we were able to get stuff from her because of that.
This is a fun map because there is a spot that Har will stop on turn 1 where 1 range units can't reach him. So therefore, nobody does anything because they have no target.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
And on the next one, he's within range of the boss who moves first.
Nice. Yes.
And just like that, the base was much longer than the map itself. And we got 27 speed already. I was just going to mention we needed to watch Har's speed, and he just got the amount of speed he needs.
Alright, there you go. During a practice run, he got really bad luck and had to do a whole bunch of bonus experience to get that 27 speed, but
Alright, this chapter's map objective is unique, in where you have to burn supplies, and the best way of doing this is just unequip Har and send him flying all over the place, burning tents and supplies and stuff.
Yeah, and he stops in strategic spots just to avoid a lot of enemies ganging up on him. Particularly if these horses and the pins, they move around at random. There's a spot he could move that would save some time, but in the pin on the left, if one of the horses stops in the top left corner, he'll have to use a backup. Which
hold on, this is the most important turn. We need to see what the horses are doing. Yeah. Super necessary.
Alright, so this is the turn we actually want the horses to stay out of our spot. Otherwise we're going to have to aggro a bunch of enemies, and that's not fun. All right, here we go.
No, no. Okay.
Oh, he's gonna move out of the way. Yes.
Nice. So, one kind of funny thing about this is that, like, story-wise, like, the thing is, they suggest, oh, hey, let's release the horses and, like, create chaos in the enemy army. So you'd think that releasing them would give you, like, more bonus experience or whatever, but the way it actually works is the bonus experience is tied to just the horses being alive. So it's actually more advantageous to not release them. Whatever.
Yeah. You get the bonus experience for like letting them survive. I don't think there's a bonus for them escaping at all.
Yeah.
All right, so this next turn we're going to be setting up to collect the Blossom Scroll. Normally this scroll isn't very important, but since on easy mode, EXP gain is ridiculous. So we'll be wanting to use Blossom to our advantage. Blossom increases, like, it gives you better level ups, but at the cost of halving your EXP growth. We're more interested in halving the EXP growth since level ups actually take quite a bit of time and then really add up. And if you notice, we actually have Har equipped with the Bronze Axe. In this particular instance, we don't want Har to kill everything. All of these enemies will be attacking him, and we want to spare an enemy. And he activated stun, killing it anyways. That's the only way he can kill these enemies, is with stun.
Yeah, because bronze weapons can get critical hits.
Yep. And he's stunned.
Okay. Har's not very good at the whole not killing things thing.
Yeah, he only knows how to kill.
Oh, whoops.
Okay, lost it.
Alright. So this is the first instance we're going to be BXPing somebody to level 12, or level 20, sorry. Like Butter said before, every time you enter combat, you get an experience bar, and by being max level, you completely avoid that. And in the long run, this will save time.
Yeah, because you would have gained those levels eventually anyway.
Yeah.
And of course, it's always 3, so he's getting 3 right now. If he doesn't get 3, then that means that he capped something.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, that magic growth.
It's also an interesting map just because instead of having to arrive with 1 unit, you have to carry up 2 instead.
Right.
Yep, we need both Ike and Renalf to reach the top of the map. So the best way is just to carry them with Ike, Har and Titania. Har can actually pick up a transformed cat.
Yeah, and you just hope the NPCs kind of, well, preferably if they would just die and get out of the way.
Yeah. So if you have a thing for killing animals, well,
Most of them are actually gonna die. They get ganged up on a lot.
It's a good time to mention that one of the mechanics in this game is height bonus, and that mage over there staring down that tiger, you get an accuracy bonus and a damage bonus for being above someone, and you take an accuracy penalty for being below.
Yeah, I don't think there's a damage bonus, but the accuracy bonus is huge. You get plus 50 if you're above and minus 50 if you're below.
also something that we haven't mentioned, but I guess is worth mentioning. It doesn't really come up that much, but basically there is a system in this game called Weapon Triangle. So like there's 3 basic types of weapons. There's spears, axes, and swords. So the idea is it's like a rock, paper, scissors thing. So swords over axes, axes over spears, spears over swords. The idea is if you have like an advantageous weapon triangle thing going, like you're a sword user, you attack an axe, you get +1 attack, and the opponent with the axe gets -1 attack, I believe.
Yep.
And I think there's an accuracy thing as well.
15%, yeah.
Right, 50% accuracy. This doesn't really come up that much though, just because if you're statistically better and your weapon's better, then
Yeah, our units are so powerful it doesn't matter.
yeah.
So once again, we're going to be doing a handoff. Titania is carrying Ike, and we're going to give Ike to Har. We're doing this like little strategy a lot in the run.
There's also multiple types of magic in this game. There's fire, lightning, wind.
Dark light.
Well, dark and light is in this game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's easy to forget about dark and light because it doesn't really come up that much. But as far as like the anima types, the fire, wind, and lightning. Lightning is effective against dragon knights. Fire is effective against beast type Lagoos, and wind is effective against flying type Lagoos. Unfortunately, these don't really come up too much because tomes in this game have a very low base attack power. Like just for like reference, I believe an Arc Thunder has like an attack power of 9, and that's like 7. A high level spell. And a hand axe has a base attack power of 9.
Yep. I think
Arc Thunder much earlier.
Yeah, I think Arc Thunder's 7, which is even worse. The only thing Thunder Magic has is its crit, its accuracy, and it is really bad, and it's really weak. Thunder Magic is just like the worst in this game.
Yeah. It was better in Path of Radiance, but they nerfed it quite a bit.
Yeah. Alright, so Har's gonna put to use like his hammer once again and just one-shot the boss. Har's gonna be doing this a lot to these armors.
I've got to say, I'm really surprised that Lagoos down there in the bottom right actually survived.
Nice. Yeah. Now, one thing worth noting is that a lot of enemies in this game do have low resistance, so a magic using class can certainly get things done. But just for the purpose of speedrun, they'll want high movement, ability to attack directly and indirectly, and ability to tank a bunch of damage. So they just don't come up that much.
Yeah, mages have low movement and they're not very bulky, so when you have somebody like Har, you don't really want to be using any magic users.
Yeah.
This is another one of those defense maps that has a secondary defeat boss condition.
Now you'll notice that sometimes he'll manually remove characters from the map, and sometimes even if he's not using them, he'll still take them along. The reason for that is because it takes up time to remove units, but if it's a map where enemies are going to be moving towards you, then having a bunch of units on screen might attract them, and that wastes time. So that's why sometimes he will remove units and then other times he won't. So in that case, since he doesn't really have to worry about the enemy turn anyway, whatever.
Yep, in that instance, Nephany was taking a spot race and wanted to, so we just undeployed Nephany and put Racing in her spot.
Hey, look who's back. Alright, so if Har isn't around, then Jill is the next best option, basically.
Yep. Both Jill and Har are amazing characters. Jill has the downside of actually having to be trained, but she's still really good, and she's in a group that really needs somebody that can take hits and just move around.
And while Jill power levels a bit, we do have plenty of donations. One front for $25 from Joshua. This is the root admin of the Fire Emblem Community Forum, Serene's Forest here. I'm really glad to see a Fire Emblem game being run on AGDQ, and although I donated yesterday, I'm donating again. Do your best, Gwimpage, and save the animals.
So it's not uncommon for Jill to cap everything in her tier 2 class. So as you can imagine, she has Paragon right now. While it doesn't affect her BXP boost, but she's going to gain a lot of levels this map. She just went from about a level 5 tier 2, and she's going to end the map around level 10 tier 3. It's pretty ridiculous how much Paragon helps out.
Yeah, because the thing for this map is just killing everything.
Yeah.
Normally you would have to kind of make choke points
Right.
and take them as they come, but no.
Right. Yeah, just to clarify, so we did another team shift, so now we're back to the Dawn Brigade, which we haven't seen since part 1, and you know, they still have the same stats, so evidently we're later in the game, and they're still not quite where Ike's team is, we'll say. So,
Yeah, and another interesting thing about this map is Les and Mordecai show up on this map, and you can actually fight your own team members. They just retreat when they're defeated, but of course, if they kill you, it's permanent.
yeah.
It's very fair that way.
Yeah, so there are multiple occasions in the game where the teams that you're playing as come to blows with each other, and basically whichever enemy one is, you can attack them and kill them, and it's okay, they'll just like retreat, so. It also makes for some very interesting possible outcomes because, you know, the characters do have relationships and storylines and everything in this game. So there are several occasions where you can talk to someone on your team can talk to someone else on the team and either recruit them, or the enemy can even recruit your own units. So
Yeah, and this is, when he removed that support early on in the game, this is why.
right,
Yep, Mikai and Soth are fighting a lot together this map, and it would have just added up. Like, there's a little support bubble that appears every time they attack within 3 spaces of each other. So, this is Fog of War. Once again, we can't see any enemies unless we're close by. But every move's planned out, so we know where the majority of the enemies are going to be. And we'll just move Jill accordingly.
okay. Oh yeah, she has done that too, cool.
Yeah.
One thing to note, so Mordecai and Life are in this map. They're, you know, units that you use in teams depending on what part of the game you're in. They're also in Path of Radiance. Now, one thing to note is, let's see, so we have Zahark on this map. He's a Swordmaster down there. One of his things is that, as far as a character-wise, he's decidedly in the Save the Animals camp. And so if he actually talks to Mordecai or Life, he'll actually switch to their side, which is kind of interesting. If you wanted to like transfer over items to Ike's team for whatever reason, then I guess you could do that. But really, the Dawn Brigade needs him a lot more, so we're gonna avoid that.
Now would be a good time for donations as well.
We do have $50 from Kalandros. Been looking forward to seeing one of the Telus games running a marathon for a while, and the wait was worth it. May the RNG gods be with you, Gwimpage. All $50 can go to the runner's choice.
Alright, and so the Black Knight just showed up, because why not?
Yeah, he makes a habit of that, just randomly appearing
Yeah,
towards the end of maps,
yeah.
taking credit. We do also have a fairly generous donation from Anonymous for $500.
Ooh, nice job, bro.
I've been healthier than usual this year, so I have some money left over. Here's a few dollars in the hope that it can help others from having to go through so many health issues themselves, as money cannot buy one's health back. On a lighter note, I saw a bit of the blindfolded practice session Runner Guide was kind enough to do on SRL a while back for OOT. I look forward to seeing how much he's progressed. I wish good luck and even better health to all of you, for all of you and all your hard work in making this happen.
Alright, we're actually looking for Jill's level ups right now. She needs to reach some important milestones for a boss kill later. But right now it's not too important, but we just need to keep an eye out for her stats.
Yeah, I believe that's one of those irritating things where here's the beast killer that he just used. It doesn't Pretty sure it doesn't have its effective bonus unless they're actually transformed.
Yep.
Yeah, one thing is if you don't have a super buff Jill, this chapter is quite the pain, because the Dawn Brigade is pretty weak for this portion of the game. Like, I think the point of the map is supposed to be to kind of give them the opportunity to level up, but the enemies they're fighting are just way too powerful, so it becomes kind of a struggle.
Yeah, on harder difficulties, this is actually one of the more difficult maps of the game. On hard mode, it actually kills a lot of people's runs because it's just like impossible to complete it.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that this is the same map just during the day, and I did with a different army.
Yeah, so now we're back to controlling Ike's army. And taking on the Dawn Brigade and a bunch of other units.
Yep, this map is interesting because your units are actually on the other side of the river, and you can fight them and just like beat on them, which is
Yeah.
actually quite fun.
Yeah, yeah. So this just kind of highlights how much more powerful Ike's team is. Again, this is also another possible recruitment type of thing. If Har talks to Jill, you can actually have Jill recruited to Ike's army. But again, the Dawn Brigade needs her a lot more, so...
Yeah, there are all kinds of interesting things you can do in this map casually. Like Ike fighting the Black Knight and so forth.
Yeah.
We just recruited 2 Hawks named Janeth and Elki. These 2 are very important in the run. We're not going to be using them just yet, but we'll be using them much later. What's important about them is they have really high base stats, and they have Canto, and they fly.
Yeah, they definitely get the most use of the non-royal Lagoose.
Yep.
We do have a $25 donation from Viking12.
Hey, Viking.
Hey, it's Viking. Shoutouts to Butters BB for the amazing commentary,
Oh, thank you, bro.
and Gwimpage for the phenomenal menuing. Please send my donation towards Gwimpage's choice, and I would like to remind him about the importance of praising a certain dog before the 4-4 sleep staff. Would I have time for a couple more, or would that be disruptive?
I would say so.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. 25 from Captain Man. Glad to see AGDQ again this year. I love that you guys do all this for charity, and I hope that more runs are in the years to come. Also, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn is one of my favorite games, and it's nice to see it being ran through. Good luck to all the runners.
So, this chapter just consists of waiting around because this is a defense chapter, but we can't end the map by defeating the boss. Oh, yikes.
You also have $25 from Tubzilla. Hey AGDQ, love what you're doing. Every time I see these, it sparks my desire to start running again. I lost my grandpa last year to cancer, so everything you guys do here is just inspiring. Now, we need to band together. Save the Animals is winning by $12,000. So let's continue to cement that lead. Kill the frames. Save the Animals.
Whoops.
$50 from Green Hero 4. I was told about AGDQ a few days ago, and it has consumed me. Loving the Fire Emblem run. The Radiant games are my favorites of the series. Thanks for the effort you guys are putting in for a great cause.
I think the best part about this map is that at some point Har just starts taunting the enemies. Staying close, but just out of reach.
Yeah, it's a lot of hand axe. Again, hand axe allows you to attack things either directly or indirectly, so yeah, you gotta stockpile them.
Yep, and we're capping Har's level at this point. We just got enough bonus experience to do so, and since he's the MVP of the run, we want him capping as soon as he can.
Yeah, so it's better to cap him out because he's gonna do a lot of fighting, and you know, while he would get a whole bunch of level ups, it would just waste time, so.
Related to that, we do have $20 from Anonymous. This is for Har to use his hammer to kill cancer. $50, also from another anonymous donor. Thanks for the great Radiant Dawn run. Currently power leveling my characters in Bravely Default with auto battle, and this is much more interesting. Put my donation towards the blindfolded Ocarina of Time, bro.
So yeah, Har's growths this run were good enough that it got to the point that by the time he was 18, he'd already capped everything. So.
Yep, so this map's gimmick is there are these lava tiles all over the place, and they'll shoot lava rocks at you if you end your turn on them. And these enemies just love stepping on them and just wasting time.
And normally in these Fire Emblem games, whenever there's like a lava tile level, if you're on like a lava tile, then the ground will like go on fire or something, or erupt, which doesn't really make sense, but kinda, I guess. This one, like,
Laser-guided rocks.
your laser-guided rocks that always hit the same spot consistently.
Also, that's did you explain racing?
Yeah, I haven't heard. That's the only one I haven't explained yet.
Yeah.
So, Racing. This is the last of the herons that you can use. This is the third one. So Racing's thing is he can only actually give 1 unit an extra turn, but if he transforms, then he can give 4 units an extra turn. And he has the added bonus that when he's transformed, he gets much more movement than Raphael does.
Yeah, Racing also has Kanto, but like you said, Racin's problem is he has to transform, meaning he has to either use a turn or just wait forever to be able to transform. Raphael's main thing is he can instantly vigor 4 people at once, which is more desirable.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really even need to debate too much as far as which of the 3 herons is better, because pretty much they all get used in the run. There's never a point in the run where you can actually use more than 1 heron at any given time. Like, the herons are assigned for like story reasons to different teams, and pretty much whenever they're available, they're used. So.
Yeah. It just so happens that in the end game, Raphael can vigor 4 people instantly, so he's used.
We have $100 from DDR Coder. My friend said he'd match my donation, but let's kill cancer, the animals, and his bank account.
Crossbow. So, yeah, crossbow is an interesting weapon, as that allows an archer to actually attack directly.
Yeah, and normally it would be very terrifying to a flying unit because effective bonuses triple might, and with crossbows they don't use your strength, they use the might of the weapon entirely, so therefore it is unusually high. So an effective bonus with a crossbow is pretty much a one-hit kill on any flying unit.
Yeah. Well, besides Dragon Lords who don't have to worry about it.
Alright, so all of these enemies have done nothing to Har. Har has taken 0 damage, and he's actually going to take more damage from the stage hazard than anything in this map.
Yeah.
His only weakness is laser-guided rocks.
Yeah.
So yeah, shoutouts to the 2 shamans here. Very rare instance of dark magic users in this game.
They try so hard.
Yeah.
$30 from Bomb de Llama. Hey Gwimpage, you're destroying it. Great to see Fire Emblem getting the spotlight. I want to say this event shows how much power a community of gamers can have. Lost a very close friend to cancer and want to shout out for her. Krista, you'll always be with us. Lastly, here's a sacrifice to the RNG gods for you.
All right. Long time ago, Joffrey failed to get speed, so we need to fix that.
Yeah. There you go.
So the boss has 23 speed, and in order to double units, one unit needs at least 4 more than the opposing unit
Alright, so
to
just
be
need
able
4
to
more then?
double.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And by using the speed wing, we're able to double the boss.
Alright, so yeah, another team transition. Back to, we haven't seen Joffrey's team for a while, so.
Yeah, and like all the other maps, we have these allied units, and we don't need them at all. So we're just going to be directing them to stay put and stay out of the way.
So yeah, I believe that they're going in to save the village, correct?
Yep. But Joffrey's speedrunning, so he's going to leave everybody behind.
Saving the village by just letting the houses burn.
Yeah.
We have $30 from Kirby Master. Kirby Master here. Awesome run, Gwimpage. Your menuing is doing so well. Better than what I've been doing lately. Good luck on Te'ern, and hope the 4-4 sleep staff doesn't hit. Don't forget to throw away the run by ending the turn early on the last turn of the last chapter like Lycan.
Way to save that village.
Yeah.
Hey, they saved one house so far. That's all that really matters.
Alright, we just finished the map just in time because reinforcements showed up near our allies, and we saved them at least. Not these houses.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, whoops.
One of those fun maps where your whole goal is to try to kill enough enemies in front of the NPCs so that they don't really go too far into the map and waste a lot of time.
We have $25 from BWD Yeti. Wow, I did not expect this Fire Emblem menu speed, and it's hilarious to see Har and Jill steamrolling the entire game. Greetings from the FE, ROM hack, and fan game community. Put this towards Gwimpage's choice.
I believe this is technically like a defend chapter, right?
This is actually a route chapter, but if Valencia dies, it's a game over. And lots of people like to actually complain about Valencia's AI, but they should actually be complaining about Joffrey's AI because Valencia is set to follow Joffrey. And when Joffrey gets bored, he'll charge 1,000,000 archers and get Valencia killed some night.
$50 from Anonymous. Fire Emblem is my favorite game series of all time. Sadly, I can't watch the run because it's in the middle of the morning. However, I did wake up just to donate at what I find is the perfect time. Oh yeah, kill the animals.
Okay.
So that was our first instance of siege magic. There have been several siege magic users up until this point, but none of them have been significant. Siege magic is a special kind of magic that attacks from 310 range, and enemies will sometimes have this and cause some problems because they can't actually, you can't counterattack from 310 range. So we're going to be abusing the fact that there's nobody in his purge range, so we're going to bum rush him and force him to attack at 1 and 2 range. We do this several times in the run when it's convenient.
$25 from Celsius. Love Fire Emblem. Can't wait to see you break it over your knee. Here's $25 for another personal favorite. Put this money towards the Organization 13 refights.
Sol is probably like the best mastery skill. It's a critical hit and it heals you. It's like, what more can you ask for?
So why not? Paladins need that extra defense boost.
And $25 from Zelicium. What's Cancer's weakness in the weapon/magic triangle? Everyone at PCF and AGDQ.
So, as they're doing their neutral turns, I guess we can point out some of the characters in there that we haven't really used yet. So they have the orange guy with the spear is Danved, not to be confused with Devdan from the previous game. They're two totally different characters, although he does get Devdan stat bonuses for some convenient reason. There's also Astrid. She is a mounted unit, but she doesn't really get any use, unfortunately. Makalov is a mounted unit. He uses swords rather than axes. He's got really good speed. He actually has some utility use later. And, let's see, was there anyone
He
else?
has nice hair, too.
Oh yeah, and last but not least we have Marcia. Now, Marcia is interesting in that in Path of Radiance, Marcia is like,
The best.
yeah, she's the unit that you use. Like from the word go, she's the one that you focus all your level ups on, and that, you know, you're pretty much either dominating maps with her or you're using her to ferry Ike over to see something. But in this game, she's not really used at all.
And she has a big day coming up soon.
Well, yeah. Well, she does have one very crucial role.
She can do it.
And Valencia has a ability called Refresh, so if she gets hurt, then she does that and wastes time.
Yeah. It's similar to being poisoned. Alright, coming up is everyone's favorite bridge chapter. I don't think I've ever met anybody who likes this chapter. This bridge is quite different from the Path of Radiance version because you're moving across the other side, and the enemies will actually use shine barriers to mess with you. Shine barriers are items that you place on the ground that become impassable to anyone, and the enemies actually use these on choke points that force you to fall into pitfalls.
It's also an interesting map just because it showed up in Path of Radiance as well, except you were crossing it the other direction.
So we're BXPing Tanith and Titania. Tanith joins after the base, so that's why we just did that funky leave the base and come back. It's just faster to BXP Titania to level 20 and promote Tanith.
We have $50 from Ray Scarred. My third year watching, and I finally have a disposable income. Lost my mom to cancer 5 years ago, and it sucks. Fire Emblem is one of my favorite series, and I've met Butters at fighting game community events back in the day, so it seemed like a perfect time to donate to the great cause. Good luck with the rest of the run.
Will she get a stat? Will she get a stat? Nope.
Nope, she's capped everything.
I still can't get over the fact that they tried to. It's like they tried to fix bonus experience, but they made it more broken.
Yeah, they actually improved it. Now instead of having to reset over and over again to get those hard to reach stats, you just have to level up normally, and then the things that don't get capped, oh, hi, there you go.
Alright. Oh, look at this. What am I doing? Oops.
Oh, did Ike just get Ragnall?
Yep.
Okay, so I mentioned before that Ike is a really, really powerful unit. And they decided that it was necessary to give this already very overpowered unit a sword that allows him to attack directly and indirectly and has unlimited uses. Because why not?
And it gives them a stat bonus too.
And it gives him a stat bonus, yeah. Can't forget that.
Alright, so our starting formation is mostly just to protect Leanne and rescue Tabarn. They're gonna show up like kind of close into the enemy lines, and we need to get Leanne out there safely as soon as possible.
Normally it wouldn't be that big a deal to let them roam free, especially because the barn is so powerful, but they would just waste too much time.
We have a $25 anonymous donation. Says, hey guys, this is my third year watching, and I'm amazed at the menu abilities right now in Radiant Dawn. Put this money towards killing the animals because frames are all that matter.
So you notice that like low-E tile that guy just placed? That's what Gwimpage was talking about. Basically, wherever that's placed, no one can go over it, not even flying units can go over it. So it's a bit of a hassle.
Yeah. And those two spots that the Shanberry aren't, those are actually pitfalls. If a grounded unit walks over them, they end their turn, they fall in, and they're stunned. So if any enemies attack them on the enemy phase, they'll take a ton of damage.
Yeah. What really would have been great is if those pitfalls worked like an actual pitfall on a bridge and killed you.
Only if it was Thracia.
Yeah, if only it was Thracia. Thracia, the most realistic of Fire Emblems, wherein if you use a unit too much, they get tired and you can't use them.
Alright, coming up are the Dawn Brigade chapters again. Once again, they're really weak.
Yeah.
And we've had the Grail Mercenaries for so long, they just look even worse in comparison.
And also, when he ends this map, it matters what weapon that Ike has equipped, because he's a boss of a future map.
Yeah, And we don't want Ragnar equipped because it gives him a +5 defense boost. So we're just gonna equip a different weapon.
Alrighty.
Alright, we get the boots on this map. These boots are very important. Why don't you guys explain what boots do? And okay.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't move far enough.
Yeah,
She needs
so-
an extra +2.
Yeah, +2 movement. So boots are really awesome. And so she went from 9 movement because her wyvern flies around, and I guess like she places the boots on the wyvern, and it like somehow inspires the wyvern to fly farther. Very fashionable wyvern.
And the whole goal of this map is just to kill a whole lot of enemies, so therefore just puts people in convenient spots and they all suicide.
Yeah, this is another one of those maps that's really dumb if you don't know what you're doing, because the Dawn Brigade is forced to fight all these really powerful enemies, and they themselves are not quite as powerful.
Yeah. So this is a perfect time for donations.
All right, we have $50 from Skadge, Fire Emblem Hype, $50 from Sabai, donating towards the Morrowind any percent, since I do enjoy the jumping, whether or not alchemy is involved. $25 from Demetrius. Glad to see a Fire Emblem not plagued with RNG. Good luck with the rest of the run. $25 from Kiwi. Hey guys, it's been wonderful watching this event. Enjoying the added challenge of trying to follow the Fire Emblem run. Having lost a few family members to cancer, this event means quite a bit to me. I'm going to put this towards going blind through child dungeons. Keep up the good work. $50 from Blink Mega, loving the stream, and it's amazing that you guys are doing this fundraiser again this year. Good luck and hope you all can reach the goal. $25 from Supreme Lord Jeremy. I love Fire Emblem, and it's pretty awesome to see such a streamlined run of everything. Fire Emblem Hype!
Yeah, it's amazing how the enemies are so densely packed that he can do this in one turn.
Yep, and Jill's such a high level right now. She's not getting very much experience, but because it's still easy mode, experience gain is still high, and she also has Paragon, so normally where she would be getting 1 experience at a time, she's still getting quite a bit. And I don't believe we mentioned it before, but easy mode is actually Japanese normal mode. They changed it in the translation, so what's easy, normal, hard is actually normal, hard, maniac in the Japanese version.
Yeah, it's different than Path of Radiance, where the difficulties were actually shifted, and they added easy instead of maniac. Here it's just renamed.
We have $50 from Ian Serchan. Great to see Radiant Dawn at AGDQ. We saved the animals at JRTA last September in Ivan's run. We can do it again this year. Save the animals. Hail Planet Zeep.
Alright, this map's about to end. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
So this chapter is pretty infamous for the amount of stuff you have to go through. There's there's a set of really strong enemies that you have to fight if you actually defend the map.
But like all good defend maps, it has a defeat boss condition.
Yeah, in this map you actually fight the Grail mercenaries, who will actually chase after you and move after you during this map.
And again, if you're playing this normally, this is another one of those examples. Oh yeah, the Grail Mercenaries is a much better team.
Edward collects a very important item so much later.
Tempest Blade being one of the few ranged swords. Oh, whoops.
Alright, so since Ike is surrounded by a bunch of Lagoos, we need to find a way to clear a path for for Jill. So the easiest way is just to send Bolug, who's half-shifted, meaning he's not as strong as he normally would be. But since this transforms him, it gives him enough con to be able to push a tiger out of the way.
We have $50 from Anonymous. Had to stay up for one of the best series I have ever played, and it makes a good time to donate for the first time. Put this towards Kingdom Hearts 2, one of my favorite games I have ever played. With the power of heart, we will beat cancer.
It's also an interesting map because unlike most defense maps where you only have to defend one tile, you have a very wide range
Yeah,
to defend
okay.
this map.
And there goes Ike.
And yeah, that was a good example of push being used for an offensive reason.
Alright. Lots of things going on in this map.
Yeah, just a reminder, that's the reason why at the end of the last Girl Mercenaries chapter, Ike was equipped with an iron sword in order to avoid him totally owning Jill.
Lowers his defense.
Yeah, that too.
We do have $100 from Daniel Zero. Second year watching AGDQ and first time being able to donate. Hope all are having fun and good luck with all the run.
Setting yourself up for pretty much the rest of the game, right?
Yeah. If you notice, we bought Pure Water, which increases the user's resistance. This is important for Ike and Har, who normally have like really low resistance stats.
This is the map that was mentioned before where in order for the map to end, 80 characters need to die, whether they be NPCs, your own characters, or enemies.
Yeah, so whatever the fast method of getting 80 kills is, that's what needs to be done.
And it just so happens if he didn't kill off any of his own characters that he would end up just about 3 shy. So he definitely saved some time by sending some of his weak units to the slaughter.
Say goodbye to Marcia.
So, goodbye Marcia. Even though you totally carried the day in Path of Radiance, this is the thanks you get.
Ilyana goes down fighting Aaron.
Okay, good show, good show. Good show. And Astrid. Well, there's gonna be some.
Like a fan favorite from Path of Radiance.
I think to be more upset about Ranulf.
Ranulf.
Yeah, it's actually a game over if Renelf dies, but since that was the last enemy that attacked, Renelf's safe. And we see this light blue armored knight charging us. She's probably the most dangerous enemy on the enemy side. She has a whopping like 13 attack. She's so menacing. I'm not sure what Har wants to do.
It's pretty funny when the speedrun setting, when you're going up that path there, because if you were playing normally, some of those characters might actually be trained, and they might be a threat to you.
Yeah, especially a tier 3 Edward. He's incredibly scary.
Whereas Meg is just scary regardless.
So if you've noticed, we've sent Ike and Hard north. We're going to be intercepting the enemies from reaching the Lagoos. This just saves time because the Lagoos waste a bunch of time by slowly engaging the enemy, whereas Ike can just run around everything up there on his own.
And we do have several donations. That'll be all right. We have $50 from Kieran15. My aunt is one of the kindest, most generous people on the planet. It was so sad when we found out that she had breast cancer, but she beat it. Hopefully this donation can help others do the same.
What's up, Fiona?
Oh. Okay.
Suspend, I guess?
Should I?
Just suspend,
Okay.
I guess. That way you could...
Fire.
I'm a lot more calm now. I was like super nervous. Are we back?
Robo needs to go away tomorrow.
Okay.
And he was headed to Mr. Piper's and the one before.
Yeah.
But it had a crazy couch, so I need to experience more stuff. It's
Okay.
at 2 to 5.
2 to 5 tomorrow? Yeah, that's fine.
afternoon?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
You get to
Oh, yeah,
listen
they
to
do
Eternal
love the
Bond some
recording.
more. You get to listen to Eternal Bond some
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, it is good music.
I love this song. I bet they're doing a local recording too, so they get this too. So this will be like in the archives, just waiting for the stream to come back.
It's an appropriate menu to leave it on while you're waiting anyway.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
I was just thinking about that. It just highlighted overweight. Just waiting for everything to come back. Here comes part 4. The backup strats for part 4 is don't mess up part 4.
Take that extra few seconds to arrange your team.
Yeah. I'm gonna be kind of go granny or something. Is it back?
I'll switch over there and
Are we live again?
Nah, I don't want to tangle this up.
Oh, you know what?
You can just say that
This
this
is the
is
start of an
casual
enemy
run.
phase.
You're just debating your move.
Like, this is the start of a really long enemy phase. We could have just let it play out. Alrighty, I'm fine. 3, 2, 1, go.
So he had to really think about that move.
Okay. A thing to note is there's a sleep staff bishop on the top right corner of the map. Since Har has 20 resistance and he's pure water, the sleep staff bishop just straight up doesn't bother. We'll go into more detail with status staves in a little while, but just know that if any of them connect, it's
Yeah.
run ending.
Yeah, Fiona's a character.
Another important thing about this map is that to the right of where Titania is a hidden rescue staff, which he needs for later. And that's one of Heather's main uses. Because she has a much greater chance of actually getting it when she stops on that area.
We have $25 from Matt Foster. Thanks for running all these amazing games. Great to see a Fire Emblem run. Let's follow Ike's lead and fight for our friends against cancer.
I like how Zyhark was critical at it, and it looked all intimidating, but it did 0 damage.
Yep. I like how he jumped a little bit, like instinctively when he saw the adepts.
Yeah.
Like, oh, right, right.
$25 from Arc Siorian. Normally I fight for my friends, but fighting cancer is more important.
Well, you had your time to shine before it did.
Good luck to all the runners, and together we can make sure cancer gets no sympathy from us.
Just can't wait for Meg to try to attack.
Yeah.
$25 from Agrippa. Anyone willing to run the risk of angering the RNG gods and speedrunning a Fire Emblem game is a champion. Runner's choice as to what my money goes to. Cancer tore my family apart and still destroying lives and families the world over. And that keeps the change. Anyone that played Fire Emblem Awakening will know the phrase, anything can change. I hope my money helps. Good luck, Gwimpage.
Yeah, this is the one time where he mentioned before that you could recruit Jill with Har, and he'll actually do it because you can use her to get some extra kills.
And we're just carrying Heather closer to the rescue staff spot.
We have $50 from Sachi. I have been waiting for Fire Emblem to make my first GDQ donation. I've watched the stream all last year, and I'm really amazed at all it's accomplished and how much it's grown. Please keep the momentum going. You all can do wonders for the world.
Poor Leo.
Yeah.
$25 from Anonymous. Great to see this amazing series get some GDQ love. Now let's be like Har and destroy cancer.
Alright, I should mention that we have Blossom equipped on Panic. Like I mentioned before, Blossom halves your EXP growth, which is The reason why we equip it on Tannis, since he grows like a beanstalk, and we want to reduce as many levels up as possible, since each level up costs about 4 seconds, so if you don't need a level up, just avoid it.
We have,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
we have $4 from Dylan Yoshi. Love the Fire Emblem stream so far. I've known multiple people who have suffered from cancer, so I have to donate to this good cause. RIP Ileana and Marcia. They died to put an end to cancer.
Getting close to Har's triple action turn.
Okay, this turn we're recruiting Jill. Together, Har and Jill are gonna take out all of these enemies back here. We're gonna start by hand-axing Laura and hand-axing Meg VP, the best character of the
Curiously
game.
enough, one of the last to stand was Meg.
She was very intimidating.
Yeah. She's got so much armor, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
This mage actually has a siege tome, but since Jill and Har are both in his 1-2 range, he can't use his meteor tome in this burst to attack. And we're gonna have to watch our amazing friends, the Lagoos, move pointlessly. Because next turn we can actually end the map, but we have to watch these guys.
We're just trying to help, that's all.
And $50 from Chris118. Marcia and Astrid got their revenge by taking down the stream, but I'm glad we're back. Here's $50.
Yeah, you think that Krithnaka might be intimidating to see as a dragon, but nah.
Jill just quadrupled him. Alright, we're about to approach 80 kills.
We have
80.
$25 from Mike104. Holy cow, this menu speed. I didn't expect Fire Emblem to be going this fast.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll talk about it later.
Yeah, and here's where part 4 starts, so you have to choose your team. And
Yep.
You split into 3 parts.
Yeah, this is a very interesting part. So now the convoys are linked between all teams. Oh yeah, and this is just I guess the part in the story where they all decide to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and work together. So yay! But so what's interesting is now you have all the all the characters that are still alive. You can now decide who goes where, and that's a really big important decision because you don't choose a team per map. The teams are assigned to their own maps. So there's a lot of strategy that goes involved, and it really does force you to, consider all the characters, which characters you pick out. It makes it more fun for routing purposes.
Right.
Also, importantly, Micaiah's group gets Nesala, which is your first real Lagoos Royal that you can use.
Yep. So yeah, Nisala is the Raven there. So again, just a reminder, the way that Royals work is they can transform at will and attack at the same time. They have really high base stats. In his case he's a flyer, which is also good because that means he has a lot of movement. He's a good rescue person.
They also come with their mastery skills.
Yes. Another quick note is that you notice that he's level 27. Now you might notice that most units they reach level 20 and then promote. Lagoos don't have a promotion, so instead their level up, I believe, caps at 40, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
40. And like always, we have to bring up, Lagoos can attack at 2 range, and quite a number of enemies actually have javelins and hand axes which attack at 2 range. So it's quite inefficient to throw the Lagoos Royals at everything because they can't kill everything fast, and we need to, you know, kill things at a decent rate. Otherwise we forfeit turns and take even longer than usual. So we've
Strange.
actually have to like rely on Har and then Tanith. So while we're using our Lagoos Royals, we're not using them extensively.
Strangely enough, even though Skirmir is a prince, he does not count as a royal. So
Yeah.
he still drains bar just like any other.
Yeah. He is a pretty strong unit, but his stack growth can be quite slow.
Yeah. Grimir is the new character in Radiant Dawn, so he doesn't get any transfers. We actually need to watch his level ups here, because if he doesn't gain any strength or speed, he's going to be leaving some enemies alive in the next chapter he's in, and it could cause some problems, but he just got his first strength, so I think he should be fine.
Alright, so although you can choose, which units go to which team, one thing to note is that each team does have a few characters locked to it. So in this case, Masala, Leanne, I believe Micaiah, right? Micaiah himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
Sanaki.
right. Snacky, and I believe Nasala's like assistant. They're locked to this particular team.
We have $30
Oh, and
from
Skirmir.
Wagner. I lost my granddad to cancer a few years ago, and I miss him a lot. It's truly been great to see so many great people coming together for such a great cause. Keep up the good work, everyone, and I love the Fire Emblem run so far.
What we got?
Oh
Nice.
man, this Grimir. 2 for 2 for strength.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about Skirmir is that he's a lion Lagoos, which is pretty much up there with one of the best.
Yeah. Lions are probably one of the best Lagoos in the game, next to, I guess, the Royal Lions.
Yeah. I mean, the flyers have more utility purpose, but in terms of like raw damage, I need to kill something, then you can't go wrong with the lines.
And for some reason, the Lions are actually really fast on top of being insanely powerful. Alright, we're putting used to the forges we made last chapter. So we forged 6 hand axes, and Titania, Jill, and Har are all going to be putting them to use.
$25 from Pill Out Broski. This is my 3rd year, but first time donating. My aunt's got and beat breast cancer because it was caught early. Keep beating cancer.
And if you noticed, we didn't use Soth at all this chapter. Soth has the problem of just dropping off the face of the planet.
Speaking of which,
Promotion.
yeah,
-2 luck.
-2 luck.
Alright.
So Raphael is assigned to this particular team. One thing that's interesting to note is that there are certain units locked to each team, and so for whatever reason they like to really prevent the Herons being on the same team. So each Heron is assigned to a unique team. Rescue staff.
And conveniently, the best team gets the best Heron.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's he doing here?
What's Makalov?
Makalov's not here, so
Wow.
we're gonna have to. That's
Oh,
fine.
this would have been Makalov's time to shine, but
Yeah. Uh-oh. So. Alright. This is gonna be completely fine. We need Kieran more than Makalov, so it's fine.
Alright.
Yeah, because if he had Makalov with him, the only thing he really would have done was destroyed a sandbag.
Yeah, that's all he does.
A truly fearsome enemy.
Yes. So he gave the torch to Janeth. It looks like Janeth has like a really good vision bonus, right?
Yeah.
It's either him or Alki, yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Janeth.
Yeah,
Like,
Janet has the boost to vision.
yeah, like there's like a storyline thing that Janeth has like supervision, which they actually translate into the game as meaning he can see through fog of war really well. Which is pretty neat, actually. Kind of like that attention to detail.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the things about Part 4, is it starts out with quite a few route chapters.
Yeah.
Oh.
We do have $25 from Adrified. Congrats to blowing all expectations out of the water. This AGDQ has been the strongest start we've seen yet, and with enough hype will definitely blast last year's record. Shoutouts to Molotov's FE7 run during SGDQ 2014's bonus stream, and to the entire Fire Emblem community for taming such an intense series. $30 from Anonymous, who watched a lot of GDQ on YouTube and finally decided to get around to watching live. Fire Emblem is my favorite game series ever, so I'm super pumped for this game to be played. May the RNG goddess be good to you. Or Chalfie.
So, one thing that Ike used there was Aether. Aether's kind of like Soul, only better. Basically, it attacks, he attacks 2 times, and the first one heals him. So.
Yeah, and the second one negates the enemy's defenses
Oh
entirely.
yeah, it negates it. It does pierce damage.
Yeah.
So.
So
Why not?
You're dead if Ether connects. Well, basically, you could say the same thing about any mastery skill. You're dead.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only mastery skill that doesn't destroy everything is Bane, which is what Soth got when he promoted last chapter. Leaves an enemy with 1 HP for whatever reason.
If he started off with Bane, that would be kind of cool, because then it helps raise up the rest of his team. But whatever.
Just makes him really stand out because other units in his class type have a skill that just kills anything.
Yeah, assassination. A skill that was a skill before skills were even a thing.
We have $317.42 from Amafi. Can't give up. The AFG dream lives on.
Alright.
Seems like one of the few examples of a Pegasus boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Titania actually needs cap speed to double her. And thanks to BXP and transfers, we were able to cap speed pretty easily. Oh, the reason why we were attacking the sandbags is these enemies, for some reason, prioritize attacking the sandbags instead of attacking your units. So They're kind of smart in the way as they're like prolonging their life a bit. But since you break the sandbags, they have nothing else to attack, so they...
Their threat assessment skills need some work.
Okay. So there's a lot going on in this map. We get Alencia back, and we need to make her kind of useful. She joins with a skill called Mercy, and it's not very good.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to lay that on unless you like leaving enemies with 1 HP all
Yeah.
the time.
If it's a fatal attack, she spares the enemy with 1 HP for no reason, so we need to get rid of that.
Also worth mentioning that the weapon she has is actually fairly good. Because it attacks consecutively.
Yeah, so something to know is that Alencia has not fought at all in this run, and despite being rather late in the run now, Alencia can still hold her own just fine just because that Amity weapon is so powerful.
Yeah. It's brave, it's incredibly strong, and it gives her a defense and resistance boost.
Yeah, so
So despite Tabarn joining and being the leader of this group, Hannah's going to be doing most of the heavy lifting on this map, mostly because she can attack at 2 range and Tabarn can't. But Tabarn's still very helpful for killing enemies that Hannah can't.
yeah, don't forget to battle save, this one's actually kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be facing some crossbow guys later.
Yeah, Ulki's going to be fighting a crossbow user, but because Ulki has a skill called Vigilance, his avoid is boosted by a good amount, so it's kind of uncommon for the crossbow to connect on Ulki. But I'll be battle saving to be safe.
Nope.
Now, we had a rather interesting donation. It turns out that TSM, the odd one, the general, tried to snipe this bid war right after we closed it with a $1,100 donation.
Wow. Good job, bro.
And they've since been contacted. They decided to put that money to play as Tails in Sonic 3.
Here we go. .24 display, it's pretty rare to connect. So from Fire Emblem 6 and onwards, the Fire Emblem games actually kind of lie to you when you check out a combat window and it tells you the enemy's hit rate and whatnot. It kind of lies to you in a way where the game will actually roll 2 numbers for hits and they will average them out, so this favors low hit rates actually kind of missing more often and higher hit rates hitting more.
Yeah, that's nice to know.
So for a 99% chance to hit, for that to miss, you have to roll like 299 RNs in a row, which is like really uncommon.
Never underestimate the RNG gods.
Yeah. You could still miss a 99% chance and RNG won't care.
Yeah, it's like the rule of thumb that if you suspect that something can go horribly wrong, it will.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who's played Fire Emblem games at all knows that there's always going to be those moments of just pure unadulterated rage as you get like some horrible level ups and a character turns out horrible, or you're about to win a map, and then like the enemy random crits you, or you know, you go into a slightly questionable situation, but you have like, you know, like they have like a 30% hit rate or something, and they somehow hit anyway.
So Ulki's about to untransform. His Lagoose gauge is about to like expire, but he's able to stay transformed just long enough to finish his job. And it's kind of funny, Tanith has the bare minimum strength required to kill everything on this turn.
Right. I think like at the beginning of this map you were trying to aim to level up her swords, right?
Yeah. So Tanith starts with A swords. The Tempest Blade is an S rank sword. So if a weapon rank is higher than like your own weapon rank, you can't use that weapon. So what we were using was the Storm Sword to increase Tanith's weapon rank before turn 3. So we managed to do that, and we're allowed to use Tempest Blade. The Tempest Blade's a very strong 1-2 range sword, and it allows us to kill all these enemies.
Now, one thing to note is that as far as with weapon levels, with Lagoos, since they don't equip weapons or whatever, they have something called striking. And if you really want to level that up quickly, then don't transform and punch things.
Alright, I bonus experience to Barn 2 strength at the start of the map. That allows them to one-hit KO these enemies who would normally counterattack Tabarn, and Tabarn faces 3 crossbow shots, and since Tabarn's a flyer, he has a very good chance of getting hit and dying. So, just play it safe. Tabarn can't die even if he gets hit. He has to be hit by 2.
It really says something for the effective bonus when even a royal is in actual danger from it.
Oh. And that's our first instance of poison this late into the run.
Ah, poison.
We were lucky enough to not be poisoned. But
We have $200 from Robert Richardson. Happy to donate to such a great cause. Thanks, guys. It took a week off work for this marathon. He's glad he did.
Yep. Down.
alright. This is everybody's favorite desert map. There's just a lot of great maps that everybody just loves.
Yeah. Yeah, like very common thing in Fire Emblem games to include the desert, like a big desert map where there's like weapons and items all over the ground. You have to like place your units with high luck around to try to find stuff. But in a speedrun setting, that's just kind of tedious.
Yeah. And in Radiant Dawn, finding items is based off of skill. But, yeah. There's actually a hidden character named Stefan in this map, but we're not going to recruit him. It requires dragging a high across the entire desert, so we're skipping him.
Yeah, he's more useful in Path of Radiance because you get him earlier, but even in that situation, it's a little out of the way. So,
Yeah.
Definitely one of the reasons that flying units are so good, because they don't get slowed down here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the reason why nobody really likes the desert is because when you cross desert terrain with foot units, usually your movement is cut in half, and in Radiant Dawn's desert case, your movement is usually 2, so you're advancing very slowly, you can't move anywhere. But Lagoos, magic units, and flying units are totally unaffected by desert terrain, so we're abusing Nacella and Skirmir along with Har. And we're placing Har in spots where there are 2 range enemies, so Nacella and Skirmir don't have to avoid them.
This is a big reason why Har was picked for this team, because you need a really good flying unit for this desert map.
Yeah.
We have $50 from Caldrum. Hey guys, love what you guys do and love this game. 25 of this goes to Legend of Zelda Blindfold. The other 25 goes to Reader's Choice, and I appreciate that.
As an aside, mounted horse units have a really big movement penalty in sand, but flyers don't, so...
Yeah. If you were to bring somebody like Fiona here, she would just not be able to travel anywhere.
Mages also have like a movement, I don't know if it's a movement bonus, but like sand doesn't hurt them as much.
Yep, sand doesn't affect magic units. Part 4 is just very mean to paladins. Lots of maps in Part 4 have really bad terrain for like mounted units. So flying units like Har and Jill really shine in Part 4 as opposed to characters like Oscar and Titania. Although they still can get their job done, it's just a lot less efficient as Jill and Har.
As we're waiting through this, Slender's Zone mentions they're surprised at how fast-paced this run is. Like, a big part of that, and it's something that we don't really talk about, is menu management in the game. You know, it takes a long time to be able to kind of understand where everything is, and there's actually a lot of menu stuff that's going on that's hard to notice. One thing is that he's always keeping track of his unit order, because if he pushes a button and it scrolls down whatever the unit order is in order to go from person to person. Another thing is when he's actually choosing where to move units, he's switching off between using an analog stick and using a D-pad. The reason for this is when he uses the D-pad, then he can hold it down and it will stop before like it goes over to the red zone where it's showing where you can hit enemies. But if you use an analog stick, then he can go diagonally faster.
Yep. Yeah. The way I've been, oh my god, the way I've been switching between units is by using the X button. The X button switches to the next unit in the unit list, and this is important because you optimize the unit list to make sure to minimize cursor movement. That's basically the bottom line. You don't want to be moving the cursor anywhere. You want to make it as smooth as possible to the next unit.
Also should point out that important characters are being put to sleep.
Yeah. We have some sleep bait.
Yeah, the AI doesn't prioritize how dangerous a unit is. Instead, they're just looking at resistance, and so because he has some characters with very low resistance, they're going to go for that.
We're lucky to have sleep bait on this chapter because we're going to really want some for next map. But thankfully, the bishops can reach our non-used units.
We have $50 from Jotberry. AGDQ is one of my favorite events of the year. Love to see gaming be such a beacon of hope. Keep doing what you're doing and let's beat cancer. GG.
So I believe we mentioned this before, but Har has used Pure Water at the start of the map. Pure Water increases your resistance stat, and it steadily decreases after every turn. We needed Har to use Pure Water at the start to assist in avoid being targeted by the sleep staff, and to be able to attack the boss's purge magic. Since Har consistently gets targeted by the boss, he can actually die if he doesn't Pure Water up. And since staff accuracy is largely dependent on the unit's resistance stat, we need to improve that resistance stat as much as possible.
Yep. So he's supposed to just teleport away, but if you skip his dialogue, then he teleports and then dies.
It's just a little fun thing.
Which makes a little sense. Makes a lot of sense because you'll be seeing him later.
And since Numita has a Purge and a 1-2 range weapon, nobody's in his Purge range, so he's forced to attack at 1-2 range.
Once again, the Black Knight showing up, trying to take all the credit.
Yeah, the Black Knight's over there. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's there, I guess.
Alright, here comes probably the hardest map of the entire game. Things can get very scary. Just, if I mess up one thing, things are very hard to recover from, so I have to be very careful not to mess anything up.
Oh yeah, and Tormod, Vika, and Morim, you might remember them from like 20 chapters ago. And they have the exact same stats as before, so...
Yeah, they're not very helpful.
Tormod now has a Meteor Tome.
Yeah, we're gonna put Meteor to use here, just to help weaken that armor for Janeth to kill. And Morim is actually still really helpful.
And this is the first time you'll be seeing the Rescue Staff. And what it does is you use it and it brings a target unit adjacent to the staff user. So you can use that to get some extra movement here and there.
Right. I mean, it's called the rescue staff, so I imagine the intended purpose is, you know, to rescue a unit in trouble, but it can also be used to advance the movement forward faster.
Yeah, and what's important about the rescue staff is that it doesn't use the allies' turn. So Raphael was able to just vigor everybody up here, and we can move even further into the map.
So if you really wanted to go ham, then you could rescue staff, then get an extra turn, then rescue staff, and then move forward, rescue staff again to move someone like super forward.
This map is very spread out. If you notice, there's enemies everywhere on this map, so we need to use basically everybody that we have. Titania's like going over to the right, Janeth's clearing out a room, and there's enemies hiding in the bedrooms in this map, so we need to fish them out as well. On top of all of these enemies, there's a sleep staff bishop at the top of the map. Like we mentioned before, status staves are run ending if they connect, because when a sleep staff connects, a unit's incapacitated for 5 turns, and you can't use them at all for 5 turns. They're a magnet to be targeted, and it's just a mess. So if the sleep staff connects, we have to reset. Bottom line.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah,
But-
status elements outside of poison are really, really bad in the Fire Emblem series, because the game is not really designed around it.
Yeah, thankfully Berserk staves don't exist in this game, because Berserk is a very, very
No, Berserk is horrible.
It's a horrible status set. Alright. So we're bringing Ike closer to the fray. He needs to clear out a path for Jill, who's gonna like advance even further.
And something interesting he'll be doing here in a minute is trading the rescue staff over to somebody with a full inventory.
Yeah.
Because then when they get an item, they get to choose to send something back to the convoy. So he'll send the rescue staff back, and that allows the next team to use it.
You can battle. You're gonna battle save on this, I guess.
Yep. So after we move Titania, that's it for our turn, and here we go.
Right,
1/3 of a
moment truth.
chance to just instantly get put to sleep.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we in there.
Alright, Alright, we also have to be watching out for Ike's stats. He has to have reached some minimum requirements to be able to boss kill later on. He still has quite a bit of levels to grow, but we just needed to keep an eye on them because he can troll. Since Ike is actually one of the lowest growth total characters in the game, so
He is?
yeah, his growth got nerfed a lot from Path of Radiance, but his base stats are so ridiculous it doesn't really matter. But we need 32 strength, 34 speed, and as much skill and luck as possible for hit rates. So Nayla has Savior. She's carrying Raphael, who we need in a little bit.
Nail also has a very useful skill wherein she turns enemies into stone. It's very low hit rate and she can just kill things, so...
Yeah, Glaire's pretty fun for petrifying priests and just wailing on them to train somebody like Fiona. Alright, we have a very familiar character.
Yes. Yes. So the boss of stage is Oliver. He was in the previous game as well. In that game, he was trying to buy Racing because he has this obsession with collecting beautiful objects. And he is a base boss or a throne boss. There's several different types of bosses in this game, or in the Fire Emblem series for that matter. There's some bosses that will actually charge at you, which are pretty rare. Usually a boss will just kind of chill out, and if you come in their attack range, they'll move towards you. But if they're protecting a throne or something, then they won't move at all. They'll just hang there, and you have to go to them. And so that is Oliver. We don't have to worry about him moving for any particular reason. And it was assumed that he died in the previous game, but I guess in this game they decided to retcon that and say no, he was actually just captured. So then I guess he was released by the new bad guys. So.
Alright, we're fishing out the last few enemies of the map. We've sent the rescue staff of the convoy for future use. And we're finishing off enemies that don't move. Thanks to Jill and Raphael.
Ooh, you are truly a banquet for the eyes as well as the spirit. I am quite overcome. Unhand me. But how is it that anyone could risk a precious treasure like you in battle? What if something marred you? What are you talking about? Don't worry, pretty bird. I'll save you. You need someone who can give you loving protection. Someone like me. I'll take you away from these savages. I would never let them lay a single finger on you, my precious. No, the jealous cretins mustn't ruffle a single feather. I'll have to kill them. Come now, come to daddy. So, I want to highlight just how ridiculous that scene is. So, for one thing, they gave zero hint as to Oliver actually joining your cause. Usually, if a bad guy is going to join your cause, if you talk to them, they'll give some sort of thing like, oh, I can't stand for what they're standing for anymore, or, oh, I hate how I have to do all this violent crap, da-da-da-da. But he gives no hint as to remorse for any of the things that he's done. For another thing, he's supposed to be a base boss, yet he actually moves out of the base. For another thing, he's a boss. There's never situations where you actually talk to the boss to recruit him. I think in the last game there was one situation where you beat a boss and then like he's like, oh dang, I have to retreat, and then he joined later. But never a situation where you actually like recruit the boss mid-match.
That and everybody still hates him.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other funny thing is usually in Fire Emblem games, like there's the whole support function, and you're kind of limited in terms of who you can support, because there's like kind of story relevant reasons for their interactions. They have like unique conversations and maybe build relationships and have special endings or something. This game is a little different. There are special endings with certain supports, but as far as the type of conversations that characters have and who they can support anybody, and the conversations are fairly generic. But in Oliver's case, they're pretty much usually very unique, because like everyone just does not want anything to do with him.
Alright, here comes a very scary part of the run. There's a chance that Tanith can just instantly get killed from this boss. So we're gonna play it safe and attack him. Okay,
Good.
if Izuka connects his attack, he has about a 12% chance of just killing Tanith. But it's such a low percent chance.
Yeah, Dark Tome.
Yeah, Dark Tome you can't use.
Alright,
And now you move on to the final set of chapters.
yeah.
Everybody joins back together, and you get some new royals that are incredibly powerful.
Yes.
So,
Alright, so this is Mufasa, who is one of the best units you could ever have. He is ridiculously powerful. And one thing to keep in mind as far as when you look at stats, for Laguz, those stats are only for if they're untransformed. When they transform, they get a whole bunch of bonuses. So, I mean, his stats are already pretty good just as, like, a unit, so you can only imagine what that means when he's actually transformed.
Yeah, and it's not enough that you get him. You also get his assistant, which is
Yeah.
just as good.
Yeah, and both of which are better than Skewmere.
yeah. It's almost as if they didn't, like, hope that you find them somewhere in your roster.
Yeah.
Because they're right at the bottom and they're just completely broken.
Yeah, I don't think I noticed them the first time I played this game.
Alright, here's our tower advancement. This is like everybody's favorite thing, where you choose which units you want to take into the tower, and you're very limited on who you can take. That was close.
Yeah, you almost unpicked Gifka.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, before you start, you still can't take multiple herons, so you have to choose which one you want to take with you through this set of maps.
Right, and Raphael is taken due to the fact that he doesn't have to transform, and he can give 4 units an extra turn, so.
So we're taking a lot of Laguz Royals, if not all of them, into the final chapter. And
Yeah, like the only Laguz Royal that isn't being taken right now, I guess, is Skirmir, because he technically isn't actually a Laguz Royal.
oh,
Also interesting to note the parity skill that he gave. Basically what it does is it negates all special things, like no skills, the enemy's skills don't matter. What if they're standing on protective tiles or such, it negates that as well.
yeah.
One thing is, Gifka technically isn't actually a Laguz Royal, but he does have a Laguz Gem. And what's good about the Laguz Gem is you use it and your meter doesn't go down, so you can just go ham.
And we killed Hetzel. Hetzel is really important to kill on turn 1 because he has a sleep staff. But thanks to all of these powerful units that we have, we can easily kill Hetzel in turn 1.
He stopped there to force that mage to attack him up close.
Yep. These enemies are forced to attack at 1 range because they have no other choice. So, go to barn. And we've also brought Jill and Titania in. They can use axes, which means they have access to hammers, which, as you can just look, most of the map is just covered in armor units, and these guys are just like one shot, so we have to take advantage of that. Alright, this would be a good time for donations as well.
All right, we have $100 from Ominous Cow. Thanks again, guys. Keep going to 1 million plus. And we have another 100 from Clippy J. First time tuning into AGDQ, loving the runs. I work in a care home that has a few cancer residents, so it's nice to see the events on. Keep it up, guys. And $50 from Edgewood Blake 83. This is my first time donating to a GDQ event, and it sure won't be my last. Thought it would be perfect to donate during Fire Emblem, so I'd like to give a big shout out to my buddy, Waddler D, for his massively entertaining Fire Emblem Path of Radiance playthrough. That 1% Braum crit rate. Keep up the good work and kill the animals. $30 from Beautiful Yoshi. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work.
Alright, so Har's gonna use parity, like Molotov said. It nullifies skills and terrain bonuses, which the Kane both has. He's on a tile that gives him plus 10 defense, and when we activate parity, it just gives us enough killing power just to get Lacane.
Definitely wouldn't be fun letting him teleport all around the corners.
Nope.
$25 from Preparo. Hey, donating to a good cause once again. My sister fought and beat her cancer, and right now my mom is fighting advanced stage cancer. So it's great to see you guys continue the path towards a radiant cause. Keep it up.
Okay, the game is about to immensely speed up now. This was the last route chapter of the game. All of the objectives from here on out are defeat boss, and thanks to Raphael, we're gonna be able to just zip by everything. So, there's a lot to explain in such a short amount of time. So we're gonna be switching parity from Har to Kinegas, who is our dedicated boss killer in the tower. He's really important to the run, so we gotta make sure that Kane gets like the best skill.
It's also important to note that hammers are effective against armored units. And coincidence.
Look who we're fighting.
Yeah, something that kind of adds to. You might remember when the Black Knight showed up in that desert map. He is a heavily armored unit, so like even when he shows up, like he has like no movement, so whatever.
All right, time for the epic sword duel.
All right, yes. So the entire series has been building up to this final sword duel between Ike and the Black Knight.
Ike's gonna pull out a hammer at the very last second.
Yeah.
Oh man, here it comes. I was expecting the 1% critical.
Yes, you truly proved your swordsmanship, Ike. So, the ultimate moral to the story is, Ike learns that, he used to think that Grail fought with an axe up to the very end because he had chosen never to use a sword again because he was too strong. But in reality, the reason he was using an axe is because his axe is just way bigger. So dragons, their thing. Yep.
Oh, damn.
Unlike that black dragon before, the boss of this map is his father, and he's supposed to be this big, scary, really strong boss. Turns out he dies in 2 rounds.
Here we go. Just 2 lines taking down this like legendary dragon.
Yep.
He even missed.
Okay. Why not?
the boss of this map, he can't be hurt while the spirits that he has hanging around him, they'll absorb damage for him.
We're down again? Oh darn, we're like 2 minutes away from finishing. Oh well.
Wow, that internet.
That's what you get for using a hammer.
Just gives you a
3,
chance
2,
to admire
1.
those cap stats.
Go?
Yeah.
Wait, go?
But, what's going on?
Okay,
Oh.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the boss of this map, he has 4 spirits hanging around him, and while they're there, they'll take damage for it, so he either has to kill them or shove them out of the way before he can really do anything to the boss.
Yeah, shoving a spirit out of the way.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So yeah, the way it's set up is they just have to be adjacent to him. You don't actually have to kill them. So we can shove. Cool.
Here we go, just shoving
Yup.
it.
Yup. And hey, we have a line. Cool.
Here comes the lion again.
Yep.
Alright. So there's a lot to explain on this last chapter. Mostly you have to kill the auroras surrounding Ashura, otherwise you can't fight her. These auroras also bounce back damage towards you, and they are guarded. They're sitting on tiles that either boost their...
Their defense or their resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Gareth and Nasir and Ina, they have, since they're dragons, they have these passive skills called tides, and units standing next to them get stat bonuses.
Yeah. Nasir gives the most important one. He gives you +5 speed, which is enough to double most of these auras.
And
Ina
these
and Gareth give you +5 strength and skill when you're adjacent to them, so we have to place our dragons just strategically to maximize the amount we could use for these tides. But that doesn't stop Kane and Gifka from one-rounding these auras without Blood Tide.
Also, sacrifice, the skill that was plot important at the beginning of the game.
Yes. We gotta put in some work. All right.
Sacrifice is actually important because if Har doesn't get recovered in some way, he will actually die. So, from the Aurora damage.
The interesting thing about this final boss is that you could attack her with anybody, but the finishing blow has to come from Ike, otherwise she'll just regenerate and it'll just repeat.
Yep, Har's barely alive thanks to Nakaya. And here we go. It's all up to Jill to connect all her attacks.
And you notice that there are 3 dragons surrounding Jill, so she's gonna get quite the attack boost.
Yep. 97, that's actually really good.
Nice.
There we go.
Alright, here we go.
Get ready on time.
Yep, time is on the final save screen, so after this.
Yeah.
1 sec. Not yet. Alright, time. Wow. Awesome.
Very good. Very good.
Alright, I'm just gonna play the unit results since
Yeah.
it's
It's pretty much customary in Fire Emblem runs to.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that time taking into account the net being down or no? Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We just have to skip through the cutscenes, and since we're on New Game Plus, we're allowed to, so pretty convenient.
All right. 5 turns, 3 turns, 6 turns. Five.
3 minutes for 1E. That map used to take me like hours.
Yeah.
You should compare these to some of the times from Path of Radiance chapters.
Yeah.
10 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
There's one chapter that's beaten in 23 seconds. Some of Har is just way too good.
Yeah, you can see a pretty low average here. Definitely one of the reasons why this is a better speed run to watch.
All right, our unit results.
Yeah.
If you remember from 3E, our
Yeah,
poor
records.
sacrifices.
Rip. Rip. Rip.
Ilyana went down fighting at least. She took down Aaron.
The Herons may not have killed anyone, but they certainly put in work. Bastion's
Poor
a character.
Meg.
Yeah. This.
Micaiah with the 0 kills.
Yep. Hi, Fiona. Aaron, Micah, Sears, Sigran, Kanaki.
Now it's kind of fun to guess which characters are in the top 5. As you
Yeah.
can guess, Har was used the most, so he's
Yeah.
obviously going to be number 1. But
You
during
don't
the
really
next few
it doesn't take too much to guess what the number 1's going to be.
I think it's Oliver.
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 I know he just passed, but he was just faking.
Yeah.
We're actually getting to the characters that
Doimon actually got a decent
contributed.
amount of kills.
Yeah.
Stephanie, Oscar, Githka. Those are 9 very strong kills, game. 9
yeah,
very strong
those are
ones.
really strong enemies that he
that was a
killed.
powerful 9. Romeo, Kieran, Solid,
Then here's all of
Samir.
our royals.
and
Aaron's
top
just
5,
short.
let's go.
Look at the huge gap from
Alright, so-
this to the top 5.
Alright, so 6 had 33 wins. That was 6th place. Alright, so next we
There's
got
Ike.
Ike, 56 kills. Most of that coming towards the end, actually.
Yeah, when he has Ragnall, when he's actually fighting stuff.
Yeah, 51, sorry, 51 wins.
And Soth, who actually who actually carried most of part 1, and then he
Yeah.
just dropped off the face of the earth. Because
Yeah, so that part 1, he definitely put in a lot of work. 3rd, Titania. Titania gets credit for being useful in both games. Like, both
Yeah.
runs, she does a lot.
Titania is a really important character in both games.
Yeah. Jill, in a very impressive 114. She hard carried the
She
Dawn
carried
Brigade
the Dawn
after
Brigade
Assault fell off.
insanely. Yeah.
And of course, the Alpha and Omega, Radiant Har. 174 wins.
Alrighty.
Alright, good job.
Alrighty, if you guys want to check out more Fire Emblem stuff, there's always stuff going on Serenus Forest. People doing speedruns and LTCs and whatnot. Thanks for letting me guys run at AGDQ. It's been an honor, and thanks to the commentators. Alrighty.
And thank you, Gwimpage, for that excellent run. And just one moment while we go into a commercial break. We'll be right back.